Nkwaniriza nnyo nate nze Farida Nakazi bwe tutandise ne ssenkulu wa FDC Major General Gregory Mugisha Muntu asuubiza nga enkyukakyuka z'akoze mu Parliament bwe zigenda okukyusa ebyobufuzi bya Uganda. Muntu bino abyogedde akamala okulangirira okulondebwa abalondeddwa mu bifo eby'enjawulo mu Parliament omuli ne baminisita ab'ekisiikirize 28 n'abakulira obukiiko bwa Parliament obw'enjawulo. Ye omubaka w'essaza lye Arul Odonga Oto obukulu obumuweereddwa abuzizi bw'atyo neyeekandagga olukiiko n'alufuluma.
Oluvannyuma lw'okukola enkyukakyuka kati obukulembeze bw'oludda oluvuganya gavumenti mu Paalamenti bwe luti bwe luyimiridde. Wafula Philip Ogutu yakulira oludda oluwabula gavumenti mu Paalamenti. Ate nampala w'oludda oluwabula gavumenti Cecilia Ogwal ng'ono amyukibwa Roland Kajinda. Mu bamu ku baminisita abalondeddwa mwe muli Abdul Katuntu ng'ono addiziddwa mu kifo kya Ssaabawolereza. Ate ow'amateeka n'okulwanyisa obulyake ye Medad Sseggona. Hussein Kyanjo kati ow'ensonga z'obwa pulezidenti. Minisita ow'ekisiikirize ow'ebyamawulire ye Nabila Naggayi ate ow'ebyobulimi n'ebyobulunzi ye Francis Epataiti ng'owa gavumenti ez'ebitundu ye Betty Namboze so nga ate ow'ebyensimbi n'okuteekerateekera eggwanga ye Geoffrey Ekanya. Dr. Bayiga Lulume ye asigadde ku ky'ebyobulamu ate ow'ensonga z'omunda ye Odonga Oto. Wabula Odonga Oto ategeezezza olukiiko nga bw'atayagala ekifo ekimuweereddwa era wano wasinzidde n'afuluma ekisenge olukiiko mwe lubadde lutudde.
What I had expressed my interest and applied for was to be the chairperson of Public Accounts Committee. Even the thieves watching me out there knew I was the right person for that office. So I declined it. And being a political animal, I will have to go and consult my electorates.
Tujja kwogera naye akkirize kubanga wetumutadde mu internal affairs we wali ensonga z'ennyini zetwagala akoleki arwanyise kubanga ebwere eyo bw'oraba tiya gaasi bw'oraba engeri security services engeri gye batulugunyamu abantu ebyo byonna biri wansi wa portfolio ya internal affairs.
Ate ebifo ebirala ebirondeddwamu olwaleero mwe muli bassentebe b'obukiiko obw'enjawulo mu Paalamenti ng'abamu basuuliddwa so nga abalala bakyusiddwa. Kasiyano Wadri abadde akulira akakiiko akalondoola ensimbi z'omuwi w'omusolo kati akyusiddwa nga yakulirako akalondoola ebisuubizo bya gavumenti. Alisa Alaso kati yazziddwa ku bukulembeze bw'akakiiko akalondoola ensimbi za gavumenti era nga wakumyukibwa Paul Mwiru. Ate omubaka Ibrahim Ssemujju Nganda aweereddwa okulembera akakiiko akalondoola ebitongole bya gavumenti nga wakumyukibwa Florence Namayanja owa DP. Winnie Kiza nga yabadde nampala w'oludda oluwabula gavumenti kati yakulira akakiiko ka gavumenti ez'ebitundu nga Maxwell Okola ye mumyuka we. Regan Okumu ye alondeddwa ku bwa memba ku kakiiko akakulira Paalamenti. Ate ye Odota Yebwa abadde alondeddwa ku kakiiko akalondoola akasiimo ka Paalamenti asabye akakiiko aweebwe akadde okwongera okwetegereza obuvunaanyizibwa obumuweereddwa.
I have told the party president that I will first have to study and understand whether I can do this job very well. If I find that I cannot do it very well, I've even told the meeting that I resign this post.
Bo abamu ku balondeddwa beeyamye okukyusa ko okutumbula ettutumu ly'oludda oluwabula gavumenti.
Kata okigenda kutuyamba kulaba abantu baffe bano ba members kulaba all the time tubasindikira obumessage tuba tukubira obusimu tubawandiikira amabaluwa tulabe nga obukiiko obwo ne Paalamenti enkiiko zonna nokola ki ne bazigenda.
Olw'okuba mulimu guno si mwangu ogw'okuteeka ababaka abali mu FDC abali wabweru FDC DP UPC okubakwataganya tusobole okuba nga tuweereza eggwanga lino ku opposition. Eddoboozi lino lye libadde lisuubirwa bannayuganda.
Major General Mugisha Muntu ategeezezza nga enkyukakyuka ezikoleddwa bwe zigendereddwamu okwongera amaanyi mu lutalo olw'okubatuusa ku buwanguzi.
N'olwekyo okukyusa abantu kuva mu ndowooza emu okugenda mu ndowooza endala si kintu kyangu naye tuli bagumiikiriza kubanga ekkubo lye tukutte okuzimba pate eno myaka 8 gye tumaze era lyekkubo lye tugenda kusigala nga tukozesa.
Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
Abale nnyo Julius Senkwandwa ye President Yoweri Museveni asimye ababaka ba NRM abali kati ye Kyankwanzi olw'okulengerera ewala ne bamusembaddemu yesimbewo ku lw'ekibiina mu kulonda kwa 2016. Ababaka bano abasaba mu bibiri olunaku lwa jjo batadde emikono ku kiwandiiko ekisemba President Museveni Yesaba Minister John Patrick Amama Mbabazi agamba nti tayasanguzangako nti agenda kwesimba ku bwa president.
Ababaka b'akabondo ka NRM bali kati ekyankwanza olunaku lw'eggulu batadde emikono ku kiwandiiko ekyogira President Museveni okwesimba mu 2016. Ababaka bano bavuddeyo okutendereza Museveni ne lwaki baagala yeesimbewo.
Honorable members, honorable colleagues, I present to you the gentleman. Tell those people that we have none other than Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda.
Bazvidde olunaku lw'eggulu nga batadde emikono ku kiwandiiko bali 28 omuli ne Ssaba Minisita Amama Mbabazi. Mbabazi agambibwa okuba nga bwe yeegaanyi ebibadde byogerwa nti ayagala kwesimba ku President Museveni.
And he said, rumors that have been going around about me are not true. I obviously support President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta and the motion.
Mu lutalo lw'eggulu olwakubiriziddwa Dr. Lukahana Lugunda, President Museveni agambibwa okuba nga yategeeza ababaka ba NRM okwewala okumala ebiseera nga beegwanyiza ebifo mu kifo ky'okukolera eggwanga. President era yatendereza abavubuka olw'okulengerera ewala ne bawagira yeesimbewo okutwala eggwanga mu maaso.
I want to repeat this. Yes. The President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni welcomed our resolution in the context of party cohesion and welcomed the young people and thank the young people for launching another new phase of the national resistance movement.
Ssaba Minisita Amama Mbabazi, Rebecca Gadaga ne Gilbert Bukenya nga bakibiina kya NRM be bamu ku bagambibwa okwegwanyiza ekifo kino mu 2016 wadde nga Ssaba Minisita Amama Mbabazi agambibwa okuba nga yabyegaanyi olunaku lw'eggulo.
NTV yakawungeza Ssaba Minisita wa Ethiopia era nga yakulembera omukago gwa IGAD Haile Mariam agamba nti UPDF n'amagye amalala gonna amagwira gasaanawo okwamuka South Sudan era nga kino balina kukitandikako amangu ddala. Emu ku nsonga IGAD zeewa kuliko ekyokuba nti okubeera kwa UPDF mu South Sudan kyandigootaanya enteeseganya. Kyokka Uganda emwanukudde n'egamba nti ekyalina ebyokumaliriza e South Sudan era nga okuvaayo kati kiyinza okuleetawo obuzibu.
Olunaku lw'eggulo gavumenti ya Amerika yazzeemu n'etegeeza nga Uganda bw'erina okuggya amagye gayo mu ggwanga lya South Sudan.
And the Ugandans came in at the request of the government and with the support of the IGAD countries. Now that a cessation of hostilities has been signed, we, along with others, call on Uganda as well as other governments to pull back so that we can move the peace process forward.
And the foreigners who are always interfering in our own countries, they now become protectionist. That's when now independence comes back. Normally, independence is not talked about. But when Africans want to do something to help each other, it's independence now.
Nga buli ggwanga Uganda n'Amerika buli limu likyagugubidde ku kiryagala South Sudan. Ssaba Minisita wa Ethiopia era nga yakulira omukago gw'amawanga agali mu IGAD naye yavuddeyo. Ono agamba nti Uganda n'amagye amalala amagwira galina okuva mu South Sudan.
We said with implementation of the cessation of hostility in South Sudan, then every external forces which has been invited by both parties has to withdraw from that theatre of operation phase by phase.
Kyokka ate omuwandiisi w'enkalakalira mu minisitule y'ensonga z'ebweru James Mugume agamba nti Uganda ekyalina bingi ebyokukola mu South Sudan.
That's the key word, progressive. In other words, don't leave a vacuum. And this is in line with our thinking. We went there, which we have done. They discuss the dialogue is going on in Addis Ababa. A joint verification mechanism is being put in place. If we have to withdraw or reheart.
Kinajjukirwa nti omukago gwe gumu ogwa IGAD gye buvuddeko gwatendereza Uganda olw'okukola ennyo okulaba nga bataasa abantu obutafa mu South Sudan olw'obusambatuko obuliyo. Omukago gwa IGAD n'Amerika bagamba nti UPDF okuva mu South Sudan kijja kutuukiriza ebyo byatuukibwako mu ndagaano ey'okuzza emirembe mu ggwanga lino.
Mu mawulire amalala bannayuganda basuubulira e South Sudan bakukuluma olwa gavumenti y'erudda eyo okulemwa okubasasula ssente ze baludde nga babanja okuva mu mwaka gwa 2008 we babawa ebyamaguzi. Bano era banenyeza gavumenti ya Uganda okwesuulirayo gwa naggamba ku nsonga yaabwe yadde nga mu ndagaano gye bakola gavumenti ya Uganda yalinawo okutwala obuvunaanyizibwa obw'okubanja gavumenti gye naayo.
Abasuubuzi ab'emulugunya beegattira mu bibiina okulekya Uganda South Sudan Grain Traders and Suppliers Association ne Uganda Traders Association of South Sudan. Bano bagamba nti bawa gavumenti ya South Sudan ebintu eby'enjawulo mu mwaka gwa 2008 era nga yalina okusasula mu bitundutundu okutuuka mu mwaka gwa 2010 wabula nga bano basasulwako ekitundu kimu ne balekerawo.
Our members made various supplies to government of South Sudan at the time of need.
Mu lukungaano lubaddemu n'omugezi w'ekibiina ekigatta abasuubuzi mu Kampala Kikasiita Isa Sekito, abasuubuzi era banenyeza gavumenti ya Uganda olw'obutafaayo okutuukiriza ndagaano gye baakola nabo nga Uganda yalina okutwala obuvunaanyizibwa okubanja gavumenti ya South Sudan ssente zaabwe, ekintu ekyabalemye okukola n'okutuusa kati.
Luli baali batugamba Sudan yakeefuga, bw'eba yali yakeefuga Uganda yaguma etya okusaako endagaano nti nze nja kusasula. Ku mulundi guno tetubanja Sudan, tubanja Uganda yakola endagaano nti nja kusasula ndibanja. N'olwekyo gavumenti ya Uganda teyekwasa akantu konna oba bye babadde batubalira bituufu mu ssente ziteereddwawo okutereeza Sudan bafuneko akayungula katono basasule abantu bano kuba kye babanja kyabwe tebaagala feva.
Abasuubuzi bagamba nti buli lwe babanja ssente zaabwe babategeeza nga bwotali nsimbi kyokka nga babatwalayo ebintu ennaku zino basasulibwawo.
Obanga basasula kati ababawa ababasaplayinga lwaki ate beerabira abababanja.
Bano era bagamba nti olw'obutasasulwa amabanja kati gabali mu bulago nabo bwe ne bawa gavumenti okutuusa ng'ennaku z'omwezi 28 omwezi guno ng'ensonga zaabwe zikoleddwako.
Bannaffe factory zaabwe, warehouse, mayumba baagatunda, abalala baafiirwa n'obulamu.
Abasuubuzi okuva mu kibiina kya Uganda South Sudan Grain Traders and Suppliers Association babanja ssente za dola za Amerika ezisoba mu bukadde mu kamu nga kuliko n'amagoba, ate baba Uganda Traders Association of South Sudan babanja dola za Amerika ezisoba mu bukadde 8 nga kuliko n'amagoba. Patrick Mukasa, NTV Akawungezi.
Dakiika ziri 12 ziyise ku ssaawa. Poliisi e Kajansi ekoze ekikwekweto okufuuza abateeberezebwa okuba ababbi b'ebbomba ezifuuyira ebirime. Nannyini bbomba zino Paul Tebikwase alumiriza mukwano gwe okumubbako ekisumuluzo kya sitoowa wakati mu lukwe olw'okumunyagako ebbomba zino. Bbomba ezizuuliddwa zijjiddwa mu bitundu eby'enjawulo era nga zibalirwamu obukadde bwa siringi 9.
Martin Ndawula ne banne bwe bali mu lukwe luno olw'okubba bbomba zino, poliisi egamba nti okuwumula nga bonna emaze okubakwata bogerewa gye bazitwala.
Almost around 150 spraying machines, and of course after getting that, as I talk now, we are moving on the ground to get more in different places, because this was a very big quantity of spraying machines which were bought from China.
Oluvannyuma lwa Paulo Tebusweka okuvaayo n'aloopera poliisi ku maali ye yabula, okunoonyereza kwatandikirawo okuzuula abali emabega w'obubbi buno okutuusa lwe babakutte.
Kya mmotoka Ipsam ng'agihayarinze, bwahayaringa emmotoka eyo n'ateekamu piisi 5 nga zaleese okuderivalinga, oli yali amugambye yagala piisi 2. Kati teyava mu mmotoka, ffe already twali tutadde surveillance ebbali. Bwe yagenda okwekengera n'alaba abasirikale ng'abamanyi n'agamba wano waliwo obuzibu, n'agamba driver avuga tuve wano bajja tutta. Driver olw'okutya okungi n'avuga n'akola ki? N'adduka.
Nnyini bbomba zino Tebusweka alumiriza mukwano gwe Martin Ndawula gwe yalekera ekisumuluzo ng'agenza okusuubula nti kyokkono n'akyokesaamu n'amubba.
Enkeera mu nnaku nga 2 n'aziriza ebisumuluzo bya sitoowa ne kitwala ebbanga nga tuli ffenna. Ennaku z'omwezi 31 January nali shocked kusaawa nga 3 ez'ekawungeezi landlady wentereka ebintu byange mu sitoowa onkubira essimu.
NTV Akawungezi dakiika ziri 14 eziyise ku ssaawa emu. Katuwummulemu katono ddala tulina ekitundu ekyokubiri era bino bye bimu ku bikirimu. America erabudde nga Uganda bwe yolekedde okulumbibwa abatujju, bannansi baayo ebakomyeko okutaayaaya.
wadewo ensobi naye ne twetonda era katulina enkolagana ennungi nabo.
Poliisi yeetondedde abasuubuzi ba mmotoka ku Pine abakwatiddwa bateereddwa. Tukomawo.
Olugero lwa leero lukutuusibwako Movit All Day Confidence.
Asiika obulamu tassa mukono. Okukuuma obulamu abedda bakugeraageranya n'okusiika ebintu ng'entungo, omwemba n'ebirala. Omuntu bw'aba asiika ebintu ebyo tawummuza mukono era bw'aguwummuza nga bisiriira. Obulamu bwaffe nabwo tusaana okubulabirira buli kiseera tuleme kubwonoona lwa bugayaavu.
Pride is your beautiful hair.
They're all winners. With Movit No Best, you can also be a winner.
Movit All Day Confidence.
Yo!
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano you think you've brought campasas. Omwana yenna asobola okugamba super deep. Si myaka gyaffe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
Mwagala mchimbi wana kuza kene chiri chianu chiri okay wale tensanyu fu weneyo ka political tayakana nombozanga nakajawa
kati nekambuuza mukabete why are you crying nekagamba abasajja engeri gye bafulumiza mu lukwago.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprotich's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover.
On your breath.
Because I've been drinking.
Okyali ku NTV akawungezi mu mawulire amalala ababaka ku kakiiko akalondoola ensimbi z'omuwumusolo olwaleero lwe bakitegedde nti gavumenti yasonyiwa kampuni erimu ebinazi ekalangala emanyiddwa nga Bidco emisolo okumala emyaka 25. Kino nno kijja ababaka mu mbeera nga bagamba nti gavumenti ebibiyita nnyo abagwira n'ereka bannansi nga babonaabona. Ababaka babadde basisinkanya abakulu okuva mu minisitule y'ebyensimbi Jingo Francis gyabadde.
Kinajjukirwa nti kampuni ya Bidco erimu ebinazi bwe yali etandika okubirima mu bizinga by'e Kalangala ne Ssese, ebitongole ebirwanira obutonde bw'ensi byavaayo ne byekubira enduulu ku kusaanyaawo ebibira balimireko ebinazi. Bwe twogereranga ebinazi mu bizinga bingi ddala. Wabula olwaleero Paalamenti lwekitegedde nti kampuni ya Bidco gavumenti yagisonyiwa emisolo okumala emyaka 25.
Nga Bidco lwagiwa emyaka 25. Ani awa myaka 25 kampani wano munsi kino kikolebwa mu Uganda wokka.
Kati gavumenti ezeekolesa olukujjukujju ng'efunayo abantu tuwulira nti abamu bafunamu shares mu companies ezo nebanaga tubajjeko n'omusolo myaka 25 myaka 3 myaka 15.
Okusinziira ku ndagaano eyakolebwa wakati wa Bidco ne gavumenti eno nga yateekebwako emikono eyali minisita w'ebyensimbi Saida Bumba ne Dr. Kisamba Mugerwa, kampuni ya Bidco terina kusasula misolo egigibwa ku biyingizibwa mu ggwanga okulongoosa ebinazi ng'ebyuma eby'amakolero, saako mmotoka eddagala erifuuyira ebigimusa okumala emyaka 25.
Do we have shares as a country? Is this the kind of investments we have?
wabula abakulu mu minisitule y'ebyensimbi bagamba kino kyasalibwawo Pulezidenti Museveni wamu n'olukiiko lw'abaminisita.
The only executive authority we have is a letter from the minister.
Letter from the minister?
Yes.
Ababaka era bategeezeddwa nti wooteeri gaggadde Hilton eno ng'eddukanyizibwa kampuni ya Aya e Nakasero ne Kingdom Hotel eri mu kuzimbibwa nazo zaasonyiyiwa emisolo so nga waliwo amakampuni g'Abannayuganda agataliiko mwasirizi.
Tulina okwebuuza lwaki balonzeemu nga bonalaba Aya butasasula musolo ng'ate kyoga muyagwako dda nti terina kuddamu kusasula musolo ku bintu ebizimba ate n'oleka sembule ey'omunnansi.
Abakulu mu minisitule y'ebyensimbi bategeeza nti ekyokusonyiwa amakampuni emisolo kikolebwa bannabyabufuzi abali ku ddaala erya waggulu era baagala paalamenti eveeyo bukuukubira kiyimirizibwe kubanga bannansi tebalina kye bafunamu.
It's an issue at stake. So with this concern, we are going to table it at top management and tell them your concerns and tell them that you no longer want any tax waivers.
Jingo Francis, NTV Akawungezi.
Kubale nnyo Jingo Francis. Yo poliisi evuddeyo ne yeetondera abasuubuzi b'emmotoka abakolera ku Pine wali e Buganda Road ku ngeri gye bakwatiddwamu olunaku lw'eggulo. Poliisi ne KCC bakoze ekikwekweto mwe bakwatidde abawera nga babalanga bufere. Abasuubuzi bano beerwanyeeko nga bagamba nti zino mpalana era poliisi ebatadde.
Olunaku lw'eggulo poliisi n'abakozi ba KCCA bakutte abamu ku basuubuzi b'emmotoka wano mu Kampala abakolera ku Lumumba Avenue mu kifo ekimanyiddwa nga Pine. Kigambibwa nti bano babadde babalanga gwa kwonoona pasikalamu saako n'okubeera abafere nga batunda emmotoka.
We call upon the stakeholders, the IGP, to at least investigate what was the cause of yesterday's attack at Pine.
Niyo lunaku lwajjo bankutte ne bankasuka ku pick-up. Bamaze kunkasuka ku pick-up ne nkosa obukodyo bwonna okulaba nti nkola ki? Nziruka.
Wabula olunaku olwaleero bano bavuddeyo ne beewozaako.
Bakasitoma baffe bonna tetuli bayaayi wadde tutundemeeko enzibe nga bwebakituladdeko.
Tuli basuubuzi abakolagana revenue abalina tini numbers eyajja n'esituka yennyini n'ejjalo revenue n'etuwandiisa.
Kino bakitadde ku munnaabwe gwe bagamba nti yabalimirira.
Yayatudde ekigambo ng'abantu bonna bawulira nze njogera ndi musiraamu njogera nti Allah yagambye n'agamba empalana zammwe mugende mwetondere Muhammad Sebuufu. Nowa Stekaso n'agamba nti ye lwaki Sebuufu department eno ya poliisi.
Bano basabye poliisi ebeetondere okusobola okuzzaawo erinnya lyabwe.
Wawaddewo ensobi naye ne twetonda era katulina enkolagana ennungi nabo.
Ensonga ziwedde oluvannyuma okutegeeragana ne poliisi ne beetonda gye tuli.
Bavumiridde ekyabannaabwe okukwatibwa ko n'abandi okukubwa mu ngeri y'okugezaako okubakyayisa bakasitoma baabwe. Bano basabye abakwate okuteebwa olw'ensonga nti tebalina musango era kino poliisi ekikkiriza. Poliisi ebakkiriza okugenda mu maaso n'emirimu gyabwe. Peter Muwesi, NTV Akawungezi.
NTV Akawungezi kyo ekitebe ky'Amerika mu Uganda kirabudde bannansi baakyo okubeerawo bulindaala olw'abatujju abaagala okukuba Uganda awabi. Amerika egamba nti kino abatujju baakukikola wakati w'omwezi guno n'omwezi ogujja. Ekimu ku bifo bye basabye abantu baabwe okwewala ye Uganda Museum. Ku bbalaza poliisi nayo yavaayo n'erabula abantu okubeera obulindaala.
Ekiwandiiko ekifulumiziddwa ekitebe ky'Amerika mu Kampala kigamba nti wadde baakamanyako Uganda Museum ng'ekimu ku bifo ebitunuuliddwa okusuulibwamu bbomu, balabudde abantu baayo nti ebifo ebirala bye batera okugendamu nabyo balina okubyegendereza. Babalabudde okwekengera ebintu ng'ebisawosawo n'ebintu ebitategeerekeka ebiyinza okutegebwamu bbomu era ne babawa n'ennamba z'essimu ze balina okukubako amangu ddala nga baliko kye beekengedde.
Don't just sit with your gun just like this. Oh, no, we're just holding for someone. Wait, be alert.
mbalaza ya sabbiiti eno aduumira poliisi mu Kampala East Siraj Bakaleke yatalaaze ebitundu ebitali bimu okulaba engeri y'abantu gye bakuttemu ebyokwerinda. Emirundi giweze nga poliisi evaayo n'erabula abantu okuba obulindaala mu kwekuuma abatujju nga beekengera ebintu ebitategeerekeka.
naye bwe tuneebaka bajja tukuba naye otunabeera alert tebagenda kutukuba tujja bakwata.
Uganda yalumbibwa abatujju mu mwaka gwa 2010 era abantu abasukka mu 7 ne bafa n'abalala bangi ne bagendera ku bisago. Irene Namyalo, NTV.
Ebuli ddakiika nnya zokka okuwera essaawa emu n'ekitundu. Katulabe akatale k'ensimbi tuwummulemu ate tulabe ekitundu eky'ebyemizannyo. Akatale k'ensimbi kakutuusibwako
Insurance Company of East Africa, ICEA, standing by you. Child Educator Policy. With our Child Educator Policy, your children are assured of the best in life, no matter what happens to you. Let's help you sort out their future. Insurance Company of East Africa, ICEA, standing by you.
Tugenda kuwummulamu katono ddala bwe tukomawo ogenda kulaba omukubi w'ebikonde Kenneth Odeke abadde asiriikiridde bw'akomyewo era nga ali mu kuwera.
NTV, turning on your world.
Ekifo ekimu kissa wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Today's highlight.
David, come with me, David.
What have you done, Gabriella? How could you?
All right, Ramon, say it again, just as if you were a parrot. I saw Gabriela Suarez stealing a case of explosives from Engineer Espinosa's office.
Today's highlight.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shopping. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
Watching Morning at NTV.
The beauty of the morning starts with the dewfall, and it goes to the chirping of the birds and then the dancing of the trees. But then in a couple of minutes it will be the sun in all its glory. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a beautiful morning that we here on Morning at NTV have power-packed for you so that you can have a fantastic day. Coming to you live from the Kampala Serena rooftop, this is Brian Mlondo with the usual suspects standing by: Mabel Kebirungi, Joel Senyonyo, Simon Kasiate, and Daka Bachigongo later in the sports world. After a very not so good night with Manchester United, it suffices to say that I'm feeling good this morning. It's only a day to Valentine's Day, the Lover's Day. Let's head straight to the question of the day. Good morning. That's right. A very good morning to you. The question of the day is, how many countries does the River Nile go through on its way to the Mediterranean Sea? Feel free to reach us on Twitter at Morning at NTV. Tag me at MBGold2, at Mebkeb, at Joel Senyonyi, at Kasiate, at Daka Bachigongo, and at NTV Uganda. And of course, you can send us an SMS 6565 Kwate Simyo or Sindikeka SMS or Demo Chibuzecho. If you get the correct answer, and of course the first 5 respondents will each walk away with the mag courtesy of Morning at NTV. Tujaba Kubira Masima, and we tell you when to pick these gifts. So please keep those right answers coming. You can also go to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Answer those questions for us, and you could be an owner of this mag in your office. Now, I want to head straight to Mabel, who is standing by at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center to give us the stories that are making the headlines. And when we come back, we'll be ready for the press review with Kasiate and Joel. Good morning.
Brian, and I'm thinking one of these days we need to exchange roles. I should be at the rooftop and you should be here in the studio. Well, thank you for joining us once again, both on air and online this beautiful Thursday morning. I am Mabel Kebirungi, and these are some of the stories that are making headlines. President Museveni lauds the Young Turks who endorsed him as the ruling flag bearer for his party. And can the opposition upset the apple cart in the 2016 presidential elections? And the Ethiopian Prime Minister wants the Ugandan army deployed in South Sudan to pull out.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
President Yoweri Museveni has lauded the Young Turks who endorsed him as the ruling party flag bearer in 2016. While speaking to NRM lawmakers at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi, Museveni lashed out at schemers within the NRM who did not have the blessing of party faithfuls. Many interpreted his comment as a veiled salvo towards the Prime Minister, Amama Mbabazi, who came under criticism for seeking the flag-bearing position. Maurice Ochol reports.
President Museveni has given his endorsement by ruling party lawmakers a tacit approval as he seeks to extend his legacy beyond 3 decades if he is re-elected in 2016. While addressing NRM MPs yesterday at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi, Museveni waxed lyrical about the role of Young Turks in the party.
The President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, welcomed our resolution in the context of party cohesion and welcome the young people and thank the young people for launching another new phase of the national resistance movement.
This comes against the backdrop of a motion backing him as a flag bearer of the NRM in 2016, largely an initiative of Young Turks in the party. The president, who appeared to be in a jolly mood, also used this speech to berate what he termed as schemers within the party.
He has discouraged NRM leaders from wasting time on scheming for personal ambitions.
Some lawmakers interpreted his statement as a veiled barb towards the Prime Minister Mama Mbabazi, who has had a troubled spell at the retreat after his colleagues in the NRM party accused him of scheming to become flag bearer of the NRM in 2016. Responding to the accusations, Mbabazi, who is part of the inner sanctum of the ruling party, labeled his critics as information peddlers who are misleading the president.
The Right Honorable Prime Minister spoke passionately in support.
Yes.
In his words, I worked with His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for a long time. He knows me very well, and I also know him. And he said, rumors that have been going around about me are not true. I obviously support President Yoweri Museveni Kaguta and the motion.
Mbabazi also appended his signature on the list of those who are backing the president's candidature. When tempers calmed down, the gathering at Chankwanzi were thrown into fits of celebration. With the isolation of Mbabazi, who insiders in the party believe was harboring presidential ambitions, the president will now seek to undercut support towards former Vice President Professor Gilbert Bukenya, who says he will throw a heart in the ring in 2016. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
How interesting to see some of those bigwigs loosening up and having fun. Well, continuing with that story, President Museveni prepares to cement his legacy beyond 30 years. It remains contested whether the opposition can be able to upset the apple cart in the 2016 presidential election. Former Vice President Professor Gilbert Bukenya and former Deputy Chief of Staff Major General Benon Biraro are amongst those who want to contest the presidency. But will their message, like the rest of the opposition, gain traction with the masses?
Former UK Prime Minister Harold Wilson once said, "A day in politics is a lifetime." But his metaphor could have little significance in what has often been a predictable narrative of Uganda's political landscape. As the country prepares for the 2016 presidential election, a political pundit, Dr. Goloba Mutebi, says other candidates will have a tall order to defeat the incumbent President Museveni if he contests in 2016. The president was recently endorsed by NRM lawmakers at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi to contest as the NRM flag bearer unopposed. Among those who want to contest for the presidency is former Vice President Gilbert Bukenya, who has since turned from a loyalist to a harsh regime critic, and former Deputy Chief of Staff Major General Benon Biraro. The opposition is also mulling over plans to form a rainbow coalition and field a single candidate against the president. But how will the opposition fare against the president's political strategy?
I don't think there is any single political party that is in position to give him a headache, because they don't have the kind of presence or the kind of infrastructure that he has across the country.
Dr. Goloba argues that the president has mastered the art of entrenching his support within the rural backwaters.
President Museveni has been very adept at structuring his support bases. So he knows in the towns he doesn't do very well. But he has very effectively kept the rural masses on side, because he does the minimum he needs to do to keep them on side. But at the same time, he also makes sure he keeps the opposition out of the rural areas. So the opposition is not able to go to the rural areas and sell themselves effectively, because he throws all kinds of obstacles in their way.
Goloba portrays a gloomy forecast for the opposition. He believes that they cannot unite for a common cause in 2016.
Now, if we are to go by history or experience, I personally wouldn't be optimistic that they are going to unite this time and speak with the same voice and have the same agenda. I would love them to unite, because I think that would be a good thing for the country, because the NRM needs a strong opposition that can keep it in check. But I'm not banking on it. I hope they will surprise me.
The question of whether the opposition is able to learn from its past tactics and strategies, the question of whether they are able to say, where did we go wrong, where did we go right, and how can we build on both successes and failures and ensure that this time round we organize ourselves better. That question will depend on the quality of leadership, on the agenda presented by the opposition, on the critical realities on the ground.
The other strength that Goloba highlights is the advantage that Museveni has as an incumbent.
As an incumbent, he enjoys vast advantages of incumbency. State resources, and that's not just money. That is vehicles, that is fuel, that is staff, that is security. President Museveni has everything he needs to win. And the other side has very little that it needs to stand a chance of winning.
But Professor Julius Kiza, a senior lecturer of political science at Makerere University, has a divergent view on how 2016 will play out.
That if Sejusa's recent remarks are true, namely that BCJ may have won the 2006 elections by 69%, if there is some truth behind that, it means that the president doesn't enjoy as much incumbents' advantages as we seem to think. Second, if it's true that the president massively financialized the 2011 elections, again it shows you that he's spending so much because of state failure to deliver, because the regime failed to deliver. So the point is that there are spaces which can be exploited by the opposition, spaces which suggest the failure of the regime.
Kiza believes that the opposition can exploit the weakness of the NRM to its advantage.
So the biggest advantage of the incumbent is that the majority of Ugandans have normalized poverty, they have normalized the crisis, they have normalized state failure. So, and that's where the opposition needs to come in. To build a formidable position in this country requires reaching out to those constituencies which are predominantly in the rural areas and tell them, look, things can be better for you and me. You deserve a quality education. You deserve health care which is affordable and accessible.
Yet, Goloba advises that the opposition needs to go back to the drawing board to win the presidential election. However, the two scholars agree that Bukenya stands barely no chance against Museveni. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
The Ethiopian Prime Minister, who doubles as the chairperson of IGAD, Haile Mariam Desalegn, wants the Ugandan army deployed in the war-wrecked South Sudan to pull out. Desalegne's comments come at the time the United States State Department recently delivered a strongly worded statement saying unless the UPDF withdraws, there is a spectre of regional conflict. However, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador James Mugume, says if the army pulls out now, there is fear that the neighboring state could descend into an orgy of bloodletting.
Yesterday, the US government re-echoed its call to the Ugandan government to withdraw its troops from the war-wrecked neighboring state.
And the Ugandans came in at the request of the government and with the support of the IGAD countries. Now that a cessation of hostilities has been signed, we, along with others, call on Uganda as well as other governments to pull back so that we can move the peace process forward.
And the foreigners who are always interfering in our own countries, they now become protectionist. That's when now independence comes back. Normally independence is not talked about. But when Africans want to do something to help each other, it's independence now.
As pressure mounts on Uganda to withdraw its troops, the Ethiopian Prime Minister, who is also the chairperson of IGAD, is backing the position of the United States of America. Speaking with a measured tone, Haile Mariam Desalegn praised the UPDF for restoring peace in the country that had been convulsed by ethnic cleansing. However, he says Uganda should gradually pull out of the country to give peace a chance.
We said with implementation of the cessation of hostility in South Sudan, then every external forces which has been invited by both parties has to withdraw from that theater of operation phase by phase.
But according to the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador James Mugume, the UPDF still has a role to play in South Sudan.
That's the key word, progressive. In other words, don't leave a vacuum.
And this is in line with our thinking. We went there, stabilize this, which we have done. They discuss, the dialogue is going on in Addis Ababa. A joint verification method is being put in place. If we have to withdraw or reheart,
IGAD states have also commended the role of UPDF in restoring a semblance of sanity after the conflict between President Salva Kiir and his rival, former Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, resulted into the death of thousands of civilians, especially in the oil-rich states of Jonglei, Unity, and Upper Nile. IGAD and the U.S. government said that the withdrawal of the UPDF is in line with the conditions spelled out in the cessation of hostilities that was hammered out in Addis Ababa between the warring factions. Another sticky issue yet to be resolved is whether the UPDF continues to engage Machar's forces, which could flout the IGAD regulations.
IGAD did not allow anybody to fight alongside anybody.
Conflict resolution analysts say that for peace to prevail in South Sudan, either the UN or African Union needs to deploy a neutral force to keep the warring factions in check. It is estimated that the UPDF has deployed a contingent in South Sudan. 2 infantry forces are stationed in eastern Equatorial State in Nisitu under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Bobo Jig, and another in Jonglei State in Bor under the overall commander of Brigadier Muhanga Kayanja. At Juba International Airport, there is a Special Forces Group battalion under the command of Major Asaf Mweteisi. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
We now return to the Kampala Serena rooftop to Brian, Simon and Joel for the press review.
It's Thursday, the 13th day of February 2014, morning at NTV, coming to you from the rooftop of Kampala Serena Hotel. This wonderful sunny morning, I must say. It's me, Simon Kasiati, and the usual suspects, Brian Mulondo and Joel Senyonyi, to bring to you today's findings in the dailies. That's the Daily Monitor and the Red Pepper. Good morning, Joel. Good morning. Brian. Good morning. Well, what do we have in the red paper? Let's start from there. Before I even go to the red paper, I can see you have now brought an African bow tie. This is not about to stop. Have some respect for me. This is not about to stop. Where do you get those bows? Because I've got many.
You met them at home or something?
Yes.
You must be giving your wife a hard time.
Yes. Well, let me make it clear that my sister is a fashion designer, so we're keeping it in the family. But beyond that, you know, I have one of very impeccable style. I am suave, debonair, and of course, swanky.
Well, you'll be fine. Just take your medication tomorrow.
2016, why Mbabazi backed President Yoweri Museveni. Let's recall that there is an NRM caucus retreat at the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi, where now we have over 200 signatures from the lawmakers subscribing to the NRM endorsing President Yoweri Museveni as their sole candidate come the 2016 general election. Joel, yesterday we were pontificating and arguing and you know, speculating, as we always do, on whether Mbabazi will sign or will not sign. Now his signature number 202. What does that say?
As the young people say, Right Honorable Mbabazi has died in his movie. Tell you what, I see this movie unfolding a lot more. I prognosticate a situation where this man might come out to stand.
Which man?
The man we're talking about, Honorable Mbabazi. Of course, for now, he's got to, you know, keep his head under the water, just so things cool down a little bit. But I don't see him taking this lying low. If he's to go down, he'll go down screaming and kicking. I see something coming up.
Well, page 4 of the Daily Monitor has an answer to your speculation. President Museveni has said he is not a classroom general, but he is a war general. And he warns those who try to use all sorts of machinations to wrestle power from him through underhand means, that they will face a similar fate like he has done to previous strong confidants. Retired Kano Kiza Besije, retired Major John Kazora, former ministers Jaberi Dandisari, Miriam Matembe, and the like. Those who were at that retreat. You remember that Changkwanzi retreat that preceded the lifting of term limits? Yes. You know what happened to those characters? The Miriam Matembe. Absolutely. So
No,
President Museveni, the Daily Monitor is giving an insight into what Museveni actually said at this caucus, saying, look, I am not just sitting there and watching things from the superficial bit. Everything that happens in every nook and corner of this country comes to my desk, and I get to know who is mobilizing.
Trying to send a clear message.
Right.
But you know, it looks like
So,
he was taking
you
a
think-
salvo at somebody there. He talks about, I am a war general, because when they were back in the bushes, there are people who were in classrooms. Clearly the message is being sent to somebody. I don't know whether it's being
you will appreciate that the room went silent. You could hear a pin drop, and the culprit was possibly in there. Brian. A quote from Honorable Mbabazi at the front page, and he says, and I quote, "And as I have always said and wish to repeat, Africa's problem is leadership. When, therefore, you have a good leader, you don't let go easily." Rumors that have been going around about me are not true. I obviously support President Museveni and the motion. So Joel,
I
say
honestly
you
see
what?
this man eating his words. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll wait to see. But I see him eating some of these words at some point.
Okay, let's say he soldiers on and doesn't contest the 2016. Is there any other chance that he will ever be president of this country?
I don't know about that, but I see him putting up a fight. Whether or not he will become president of Uganda is arguable. He's not that popular even within the NRM. He has some people around him.
This is the man who's the secretary general of the party.
Does that matter?
Him?
Of course, that again is debatable, but he's not as popular as we tend to think, even within the NRM. He'll put up a fight. Whether he will make it
What's
president or
for
not,
sure is that within
that's
parliament,
doubt.
parliamentary caucus is quite unpopular, because this move was geared at really rattling
And
his
that's
ship.
where things happen anyway.
Interesting political developments taking place in the NRM, but let's look at the flip side. In the opposition, now we have a new shadow cabinet that has been set up by the leader of opposition, Wafula Oguto Philip. And well, here we are. We have some interesting moves. We've got some interesting shockers, and we've got an interesting peep into some people's bad manners. One case in point, Honorable Odonga Oto, refusing to take up an appointment because it fell way below what he expected to get out of this. Tell me, man, how badly mannered can Ugandan politicians get?
You know, Odonga Oto, I think he honestly needs to grow up. I'm not afraid to say that on national television. He honestly needs to. Of course, he's talking about, you see now, FDC
Joel,
is going down and that kind of thing.
causing NTV a huge problem from Odonga Oto. The last time someone told him to man up, he showed up with a woman.
So he might come at the rooftop
on
here,
the stairs. Exactly. Please, Odonga, whatever moves you want to pull out. Let's keep it civil now, yeah?
You know, people are making noise and saying Muntu is a very diplomatic man and that kind of thing.
The last time he was dared by a a pump attendant at the petrol station, he pulled out a gun. No.
That's why I say, you know, we without fear of retracting, he certainly needs to grow up. People are, you know, pulling down Muntu, saying he's a very diplomatic man and that kind of thing. But you see, we've given a chance to violence. It's not brought much fruit. Let's give chance to diplomacy. Tell you what, it is easier to catch a bunch of flies with a jar of honey than with a bundle of sticks. So I think this is the way to go. Odonga reminds me of men who, you know, they approach a lady, she says no, then they all of a sudden they begin to say, no wonder you have a big nose, you have a big head. So he did not see the big nose and the big head, because now he's saying this man is lousy and that
Joel,
kind of thing.
I love your brutal Is honesty. Ali Salaso well equipped to handle? Because she's taking over from a man who is very fiery. Kaseno. And now, okay, he's very fiery. What has he done? Has he had any convictions to his belt? How much has he saved this country in terms of fraud? He's been the head of the Public Accounts Committee. These flash in the pans headline stories of looking at people with very scaring eyes and scaring the hell out of those who appear before Public Accounts Committee.
I used to fear him till I met him. I realized he's actually not as tough as he seems.
Did Nandala also use PAC to bring any change if we talk about what the
I think he did quite some work. He did quite some work, and I think his undoing was becoming leader of opposition. Some people will argue. He did real good, was good as PAC chairman, leader of opposition.
Let's bring the shadow cabinet closer to home. What do you make of the new information minister?
Nabia Nagai Sempala. Of course, some people are saying she backed Muntu, and so now she's reaping big. She's not been in shadow cabinet before. Her track record, well, she's one hard-working lady. I think I've seen her do move and shake things. Some people think she does them politically at times, but let's give her a chance and see how things unfold.
There's another factor you're not bringing on board here. I mean, we're talking about people at home love to watch good-looking people on television.
Oh yes,
now here we are.
That is why I happen to be on the set.
Exactly.
But you're also fearfully and wonderfully made. That's why when people look at you, they fear and wonder.
Tremendously so. We have a new Minister of Information in the Shadow Cabinet, Honorable Nabila Sempala, who will actually be a lot of good eye candy for you watching television. Away from the political happenings, let's get down into some geopolitics and, of course, the stability in the Great Lakes region. The Daily Monitor has a story here reporting about an order from above, and I will use that in inverted commas. The United States is reiterating and calling upon UPDF to get out of South Sudan. And their argument is they do not want, this is a quote from the American Secretary of State who says, I quote, "We feel deeply committed, given past lessons, to try to prevent the chaos and genocide that too often comes out of violence that can occur when things go terribly wrong and break down." Wait a minute. So the US now has the moral authority to tell a neighboring country of to an unstable country to pull out so that the other country can sort out its issues. With all these US troops occupying other territories, thousands and thousands of miles away from their homeland, what moral authority does the US have to order the UPDF out of the Sudan?
And you see, even those that are not exactly in for the deployment of our troops in Sudan are thinking, wait a minute, these guys need to give us a break. But I've said it before and I reiterate it. You see, the muzzling of the US towards countries like Uganda is incontrollable. We cannot escape it for as long as they keep aiding us in the various ways they do, for as long as they keep being the big brother that they are, you know. So for as long as we cannot lift ourselves out of, the economic situation we are in and we keep having to stretch our hand for aid and that kind of thing, like they say, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So they'll keep trying to muzzle us, telling us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Why? Because they are the big brother. So we've got to grow up.
What are the possible repercussions for us not withdrawing? Is there going to be a strong backlash from the US?
Well, not quite, but again, but that's a show of independence in many ways. The question independence is, when you still get aid from them. As long as we keep doing that, we are not as independent as we think we are. So until we grow up, especially economically, we'll keep seeing lots of this.
Well, that may take us hundreds of years, if not thousands. But the Daily Monitor today, well, what has my optimism brought me? The Daily Monitor is also featuring police brutality in another angle that many of us have witnessed, but certainly reiterating it does not make it any different from what you already know. There's a picture of the day. A little, a certain man being arrested in Lira for yelling at the police, reminding them to carry out their constitutional mandate in the right way. This was a shocker to him. But on page 3, there's a full page story about a trigger-happy police officer who ended a gentleman's budding football career. It's a heart-wrenching story of police brutality and how it has come in the way of a young man's career. He will certainly never be the same. But how do you get to know more about this story? Unless you get yourself a copy of the Daily Monitor. Red pepper. Red pepper, of course, apart from we can see there is so much Valentine.
Too much red. It is a real red pepper.
Yes, it's definitely red, and we all know tomorrow is Valentine's Day, a day for lovers. But red pepper points to some of the interesting, apart from some of the stories that have been put in there. I want to focus on the dress code. Look as hot as fire this Valentine's Day.
Do people still wear red on Valentine's?
With a bow tie. Well, how will you look as hot as fire if you're a civil servant and you've not been paid your January salary? There is a story in the Daily Monitor here.
There's no hope it's coming soon.
That's telling us that civil servants are still waiting for their January salary as a new system of payment takes shape. Do you empathize with these guys in the civil service?
I think I do. Of course, they're talking about this system. They're supposed to have a new TIN number, not TIN number, because TIN anyway. But you see, some of them, there you go. Some of them are in these, very rural areas. There's no internet, and you're expecting them to log on, get these TINs. It's going to take a long while.
And when we talk about the civil servant, why do we all quickly run into the downtrodden teacher, medical worker somewhere in Kapela Byong? Why don't you talk about these guys who you see running roughshod with government cars and breaking us through the traffic, who show up at
well, of course, those ones are right. They don't need to advocate for them.
But they come around boistering with gusto and are spending 400,000 in just one shopping in a supermarket. Where do they
Those
get
ones
the
we are not to
access?
empathize with them. We are to
So
set
don't you
flags at
think this
them.
new system is out to reduce the number of all these guys who earn 600,000 but live the life of someone who earns 10 million?
I don't think it's a bad system at all. I think it's something we should have done yesteryear. Trouble is, it's taking long. These guys earn little pay. You know, that's bad enough. If it comes late,
but these
that
civil
is
servants
double
have a
tragedy.
way of, you know, their income is certainly not equal to their expenditure. We have seen the expenditure
Yeah, you think about
almost
these
quadruple.
guys here in town, you know that no way of pulling strings here and there. But my concern really is the guys down there. You're telling them, log on, get this tin. It's not happening anytime soon. And they're saying, as long as you don't have that tin, you're not going to get your salary. That is not proper.
Well, we all know that
We
for
need
you
to
to
have
have a
worked on this
wonderful
a while
omelette, you
ago.
must break a few eggs. So that must be some of the pangs that you've got to go
But
through
I think
if
it's
we
a
must
good
have
system.
a
It's the way we
foolproof
should go.
system. Well, still in the Daily Monitor, we have an interesting story coming in from a bit of a political family, but from a point of tragedy. Police block Kategaya's widow from selling cattle. Has it gotten that bad? Cattle. Let's remember that area Kategaya, former deputy prime minister for a long time, was the de facto number 2 to President Museveni, childhood birthday. One would expect that even after his demise, his family should be in some kind of comfort, not be able to take recourse to the little savings that are in cows and other small properties that he possibly left around. What does it tell you about the issue of leadership in this country?
You know, I did hear somebody make a comment, sounded a bit grotesque, but I could hear his point. He said that, you see, Honorable Kategaya was a good man, he did not steal, you know, he did not have so much, and that is why, you know, this is happening. But I'm not in position to begin judging him. There are people who think he probably didn't plan well enough and that kind of thing. He had this big family, 2 wives and so on. I might not be in place to judge him, but there it is, unfortunately.
Well, away from that private issue, but which finds itself into the daily national newspapers, we get down again some little bit of politics. The Uganda People's Congress, I had Mr. Olaro Tunu here recently, wants opposition to front a single candidate. Now the question I would have asked him is, you surely want to be that candidate? Don't.
You see, it's like a bus driver, you know, with the bus full, starts the ignition and then he jumps out of the bus and lets people roll. That is the way this guy operates, unfortunately. So we cannot trust him this time.
Talking about the opposition, the question now that's lingering in the political analysis this morning in the Daily Monitor is, what next after the proposed electoral reforms? Almost tackling what we tackled on the big story some 2 days ago when we asked Mr. Olaro Tunu. Now you have presented these 10 demands. Previously they were 50. Now they have come down to 10, 2 years before the election. Do we see no demands coming up by the time we hit the election in 2016? Well,
I'm smitten that he imagines he can be president of Uganda. I think he's a brilliant man. He's a very sharp man with a very good head on his shoulders, but things have not played out for him like he expected. When he was returning, you know, we were all up in arms saying the man is back. That has plummeted and it continues to do so.
someone alluded to the fact that if you want to be a leader in this country, you must be able to, for lack of better, suck up to the semantics of the most of the politicians, be able to dance pakachini, be able to do all these funny things. And is Olara best suited for such things? Well, I have seen him attend almost
should
every
have
concert
another
here
rap
at the
also.
Serena. Well, he will dance like this. He's
but-
always at the Serena, you know, attending music concerts. He's such a wonderful fashion icon. He has a black shirt, another
Wonderful
black shirt,
fashion
and another
icon.
black shirt. So clearly, I mean, he's an interesting
Have mercy on
phenomenon.
the man.
Well, in the opinion sections of the Daily Monitor this morning, your usual columnist Daniel Karinaki is back at it with his usual tongue-in-cheek expressions. And now he says, Rachitura Roulette brings back Museveni and same old NRM. Now, of course, we all know what Russian roulette is. Now here we are with the Rachitura Roulette. This man has a way of coining new scenarios. He's talking about that caucus meeting in...
Some saying, well, they did the expected, the inevitable, even though they did not want to. I can guarantee you these 200 plus people that signed, many of them signed grumblingly, but they eventually had to append their signatures nonetheless.
In the inside pages of the Daily Monitor, of course, the Next magazine is there to give you an insight into, what we call a personal touch to the stories that make it the headlines. This time round, it was reported not so long ago that cancer has now been declared an epidemic in this country. And we have got a painful life of a young man whose life's dreams have been shattered by a rare cancer. Quickly into the sports. What happened between Manchester United and Arsenal last evening? Brian, this is your tough.
I had a bit of a breather.
I had predicted that Manchester United was going to beat Arsenal. But
Have
yeah,
you become that disconsolate?
Because no. For a long time, I've supported Arsenal. I know that even Manchester United, in their worst season, will always find a way of winning. Arsenal, I don't know.
You haven't answered my question. What happened?
It was a goalless draw, but
well, I'm sure you know the adage that matches are very difficult to win at Old Trafford. Even Manchester United finds it difficult winning a match at Old Trafford. With that, I think we come to the end of our press review this morning with the usual suspects of Brian and Joel. And yes, go grab yourself a copy of the Red Pepper and the Daily Monitor for you to be able to know what's trending in the news. Let's take a short break. When I return, it will be with the big story. Stay tuned.
This Valentine's Day will be very special for lovers at Kampala's premier nightclub, Governor. 2 lucky couples will win a night at the classic Kampala Serena Hotel, plus a 1-year Governor membership card. Book your table for 2 at only 200,000 shillings, which entitles you to entrance, dinner for 2, courtesy of Kampala Serena Hotel, and a Bailey's Irish Cream gift hamper. Single ladies will pay only 20,000 for entry. Lovers will be serenaded by live jazz, soul, and R&B music by Black Roots Unlimited. Don't miss this year's Valentine's special at Governor. Whatever your mood, we got the color.
You keep telling me.
Whose decision it is to wear a condom? It has to have a good foundation for where it's coming from. When you see a back show and there is no bra, you have to control your mind. That's how a man was created.
Men and women are different. We go into relationships for many reasons.
Me, if you're a chick, I don't want to get pregnant, this is locking it down.
Someone could be in a relationship not because they love you, but because it's convenient.
Are you saying that when a woman tells her friends, oh, my man is so good, he provides for me, he provides for the family, he's great in bed, this is going to make my friend go to my man?
When the marriage is actually a marriage of convenience.
It is not necessarily true that when you put together with someone, when someone is forced on you, love will grow.
If you've fallen in love with somebody, and it's working for you, marry them.
Men, every Wednesday at only on NTV.
On your breath.
Because I've been drinking.
The average age of the entire national team is under 18.
The primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make 1 or 2 rugby fans smile, that the Cubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Thank you for watching Morning at NTV. Remember, you can be part of the show by sending an SMS to 6565. Let us know your thoughts. Follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @morning@ntv, or Facebook, simply Morning at NTV. We now return to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to Simon with the big story.
Thanks, Mabel. Now getting down to the big story this wonderful Thursday morning, the 13th day of February 2014. We are talking tourism. Uganda was recently voted as the #1 tourist destination for 2012 by The Lonely Planet. Now let's remember that The Lonely Planet is the largest travel guidebook and digital media publisher in the world. The Mount Rwenzori to the west of Uganda was voted among the top hiking places in Africa and among the top hiking spots in the world. Virunga volcanoes in the southwestern part of Uganda were voted a must-see place for 2012. That's among the 12 places one has to visit in their lifetime. That's a place you should be before you die. Question is, have you been there? Wind Impenetrable National Park was voted Africa's #1 birding site by the African Birding Club. Have you been there? Uganda is endowed, gifted by nature, so we say. We've got all these wonderful physical features, all these wonderful natural attractions, and that is obviously a hallmark for tourism to flow in. The million-dollar question is, are we harnessing all these things to the fullest potential? With me this morning at the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel is Amos Wekesa. He is a member of the marketing committee of the Uganda Tourism Board, but he's also a very astute tourism businessman. Good morning and welcome to the big story, Amos.
Thank you, Kasheta.
Amos, we are gifted by nature, but what's there to show for our gifted by nature in terms of earnings? Are we actually making a dime as a country? Not individuals like you. For you, you're okay. But as a country?
No, I think I could be a lot better. It's not, life is not all about me. Life stopped being about me about 10 years ago when I had to look for my basics and everything. It's now about other people. So I have to still work harder to try and create more employment for Ugandans. So it's not always issues are not about us. But you see, one of the challenges we have in this country is that we don't understand that it doesn't matter what you have. It matters most what you do with what you have. Now, for Uganda,
it doesn't matter what you have. It matters most what you do with what you have. Interesting.
Now, Uganda is very endowed, and the truth is that as Ugandans, because of our educational system, we do not appreciate our own country. We think everything foreign is better than what we have as a country. And unfortunately, that has eroded all the potential in us. We are not able to look, we look outward instead of looking inward and seeing where we can take our country next. I mean, even with all the challenges, without government support, we are still we brought in about $1 billion last year as a sector, more than the remittances by Ugandans in diaspora. We brought in more than the coffees and all our traditional exports. Now, this said, this is also only growing because whether we like it or not, tourism is going to grow.
But at what pace is it growing, given how much we are endowed with? We know of countries which don't even have a third of our potential.
Yes.
And I'll give an example. I'm not shy to mention Rwanda, for example, which has, their portion of the Virunga, is small compared to Uganda. But we get all these gorilla trackers almost headed they are not in Uganda.
Absolutely.
Why?
No, it's we've not appreciated as Ugandans. We've not appreciated our country. And it is also very clear that today, as I speak, Ugandans are the #1 source market, #1 source market for Kenya's tourism. 55,000 last year. Ugandans went to Kenya national parks and
you're kidding
Mombasa. Yes.
Maybe it's the same Ugandans who go to Ugandan national parks who now have run out of choices and are going to the Kenyan national park.
No. It's not like that. Very few Ugandans. In fact, the majority of the people that go to our national parks are students from primary schools, secondary schools that are going to national parks. The adults are going to South Africa, going to Kenya, going to Dubai, they're going
Casino
to the UK.
Monte Carlo, of course.
That's all we're doing.
Well, interestingly, Amos,
but you're talking about Rwanda.
I thought you coming here, you were going to say, oh, the usual, Tusaba government, Tuyambe, blame everything on the government. But I'm very, very much interested in you keeping the blame on that guy, that lady watching us on the television this morning. That you as a Ugandan, you failed your own country's tourism because you do not know anything or anywhere about Uganda.
Absolutely.
But maybe the problem is they have not been marketed to their country as well as the Kenyans have marketed it to their own citizens and outside their borders, or like the Rwandans have done.
Yes, of course, one of the challenges within the country we've had serious issues with Uganda Tourism Board. But as I speak right now, we have got a brand new team at Uganda Tourism Board. People with a lot of experience, people that have worked in private sector. The CEO right now is Stephen Asimwe, who has run EBLI, East African Business Week, and then the deputy is Sempewa John, who has been in private sector. He understands what we need, how we need to drive the industry.
You know, there's a Stephen Asimwe who showed up on the RDC's list, so I do not know.
No, the guy, the owner, one of the owners of the Business Week. Yeah, so he has a lot of interest in the industry itself. He's been covering the region. He knows the challenges.
So can we say that now with this new team at the UTB, we're going to have a revamped form of marketing, or shall we see business as usual? Because many times we've had these spy in the moment kind of injections. Let me bring you to the most recent spy of the moment.
Yeah.
We had the rare eclipse. Everybody flocked to go and watch in West Nile.
Yes.
President was there as the chief viewer. The whole world gathered around that spot.
Yeah.
How much have we leveraged from that, apart from the media coverage that was around that very time?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that Uganda is not investing in building the image at all. If you look at the investments done by the countries around us in terms of marketing themselves, Kenya has just moved from $23 million to $34 million marketing their image every single year. Tanzania is spending about $12 million. Rwanda is spending about $5 million. Burundi is spending $1.5 million. Uganda, if you look at the budget of Uganda Tourism Board last year for marketing, was 241 million shillings, which is like $90,000. That's less than what I spend on my business.
You can't even run full color adverts for 6 months in the Daily Monitor.
Absolutely, and that's where the challenge is now.
Or maybe they can't get that money from the industry. Do you guys have a fund where you drop in for government to be able, or you expect government to pick up from your taxes?
Kashati, what we're doing, that's where the challenge is. Today, we pay so many taxes. We also pay like 30% of our gross profits. We pay as you earn for our employees. There's nothing that brings in as much money.
But you see, we've been lucky as a country to have these kickstarts, for example.
Yes.
We had this lunar eclipse with the world's best viewing spot being in a Winnie Primary School in Pakwach.
Yes.
That was already halfway the journey traveled with regard to how much you can market your country. How much have we dived onto that opportunity to market this country?
Kashata, we had an opportunity. That opportunity brought in quite a number of opportunities. I can also tell you that for the first time, Winnie, they had a traffic jam of 17 kilometers. That has never happened in that area.
Well,
a room of 10,000 went for 150,000 in Pakwach. That's how important that system was. Now the challenge we had with
sustainability of that.
The challenge we had is that I started talking about this thing on my Facebook in March last year, because by March, as a company, we had already booked up for November with German tourists. And so I was telling guys, I have no personal interest. It's important that we take this thing seriously. But Ugandans didn't believe, because we're very skeptical. We're very skeptical people. We're negative in many ways.
But we also do things with short notice.
Short notice.
And the spur of the moment.
Then 3 weeks to the function is when we wake up as a country and we say, okay, we need to get money. So government gives 500 million shillings. We start painting a school here and there.
Sinking a borehole that has sunk itself.
Kenya that did not have the best opportunities had begun where in 2012 they marketed the country. They had actually more money to make out of tourism as opposed to. Now if you look at companies like maybe Great Lakes Safari, had 100 clients. The eclipse was like a bait. They came and did 13 days in the country, and every day each of them, for the time, each of them spent about $1,500. So if we had 1 million of those guys, would have probably just gotten $1.5 billion just like that if we had been serious about.
Amos, much of the economy of Uganda is spearheaded by the private sector.
Yes.
All this time around, government may say the infrastructure for wonderful tourism is there. How much is the private sector taking the bull by the horn to ensure that Ugandan tourism, one, is beneficial to them as private entities, but also grows so that there is sustainability in terms of your business environment?
The truth is that the private sector has done everything it can. We are always in the winters. The challenge we have, so every time we go to say WTM, which is World Travel Market in London, you are there defending the country, saying, Idi Amin last ruled Uganda 30 years ago, he actually died, disease, poverty. We're known for negative things, and that's why we attract aid as opposed to business. Now, the challenge has also been that we don't have the resources. No company can invest $34 million to market the image of the country. That's a responsibility of government. And I always see, one of my challenges is that NRM has got a PR mechanism. FDC has got
Does
a PR
it?
mechanism. DP has got PR mechanism.
Do they?
But there's no mechanism to market Uganda as a nation. If we talk about gay things, they go all over BBC, CNN, and no one goes out there to defend it.
Absolutely.
If we talk about
a little riot in
disease
Kampala,
they write about it all over, and we don't understand the implications of the PR, the negative PR that we get as a country.
But we have a whole Ministry of Information and National Guidance. We've got a government media center. We have got a media council. We've got Uganda Communications Commission. We've got a plethora of private and government-run media houses. What exactly is the missing nexus to tell Uganda's story from a positive perspective? Are Ugandans simply just negative, or do they hate the regime that they don't mind spoiling it for everybody?
Oh, well, I think it's not just about the hardware. Software is very key. The quality of human resource that you get in those places and the level of exposure is very important. Because what happens is that these organizations will defend NRM as a party. They will not defend Uganda as a country. They will not engage CNN, they will not engage BBC. Probably they also don't know what to do.
But we've done this in the past. We had a campaign here, Gifted by Nature, trending on CNN. And then what did
But that was a six-month run. When you're doing a campaign, when you're trying to market a business, like Great Lake Safaris, for example, Uganda Lodges, I'm every single day posting something on my business, on either Facebook or my website, or I am engaging people about tourism. I'm spending my time coming in the morning, you're hosting me, giving us an opportunity for tourism. All these things are happening. Why?
Talking of which, you may give us your views and comments at my Twitter handle, which is @Kasiate, to tell me what your impressions are of Uganda's tourism sector. Let's proceed. We've seen countries like Malaysia running yarn and campaigns in international media houses, especially CNN, for example, the Malaysia Truly Asia brand. What does it take to run that kind of thing here in Uganda, spearheaded by the private sector? Because now clearly, it's glaring clear that government has the infrastructure, yes, has the hardware, but the software is lacking. Government has a way of attracting the most incompetent people in very wonderful, I mean, this is what we will say, alluded to, that they have the most incompetent people in the most sensitive position. But you have the most competent people in positions that you could elevate to have some kind of influence. To what extent are you going to leverage that?
One of the things that we're doing, of course, I've just sat on the UTB board. Our chairman is James Tumsime, a very able man, and that's the reason you're seeing changes at Uganda Tourism Board. Now, we can have also the good, of course, we can have the good people sitting at Uganda Tourism Board. But if the government of Uganda, yesterday we were in Chankwanzi, we were telling the government for the first time tourism was invited to give a talk about the value of tourism. Of course,
you were in Chankwanzi
last night. Yeah,
so beyond all this stuff that we're reading in the newspapers about 200 something signatures and a man walking tens of kilometers to show you the route between where you fought, there was actually some serious discourse going on.
Yeah, of course, yesterday was very serious discussion on tourism. We had a lot of support from the floor. My only challenge is that, yes, the president was concerned about the poaching in the national parks, was concerned about the roads, but there was no concern for the marketing, and that for me was kind of...
Did you put it him in his
Oh,
face?
yes. I told the president that we have 10 national parks, 13 game reserves. We get 60,000 foreign tourists in a year. Tanzania has 31 national parks and game reserves combined, they get 760,000. Kenya has got 29 national parks and game reserves combined, they get 2.4 million arrivals in those national parks a year. So if we get 5% of what Kenya gets in their national parks, in our national parks, we'll have doubled the opportunities for Ugandans, we'll have doubled the incomes for the national parks, we'll have doubled opportunities for the lodges, everything.
When you say that to him, what did his facial expression say, or what did he respond?
He's responding to other things, but responding to the marketing budget was a very big challenge. He never said anything.
Possibly he doesn't understand this. Maybe aren't you using a hammer to kill a fly? Don't you rather start from lower until finally the message gets to the president? Perhaps have you tried to engage other government officials in the Ministry of Tourism, for example?
No, the guys in the Ministry of Tourism have a goodwill, but the goodwill is not enough. Minister of Finance and the president must agree that we need to change how people think about us as Ugandans outside our boundaries. Because all that is killing the opportunities, not only for tourism, it's killing opportunities for people in agriculture, in terms of export. If you're known for disease and you're going to export coffee to a Frenchman, he will first Google Uganda and he knows there's corruption. He will say, he will steal my money, or if they say you're diseased, they'll say, man, before this guy send me a second consignment, you'll be dead. All these kind of things affect the nation.
Well, let's get down to the issue of locally bred and supported tourism, for example.
Yes.
Many Ugandans argue, I have seen it on social media trending, that your services and offers are extremely out of their reach financially. Is that an excuse big enough for them not to participate? or is it cheaper for them elsewhere?
Absolutely. Every time you see a challenge, there is an opportunity. I think what Ugandans must start thinking is, why are we investing in flats in Kampala and we're leaving the investments in national parks to non-Ugandan Indians and Mzungus? Are they there because they love us so much? No, they're there because they're making money. So Ugandans, instead of complaining, must find a way of positioning themselves to take advantage of these opportunities. And I'm one of them. I was the first Ugandan to own an accommodation in national parks of Uganda.
And
I'm on a quarter now.
Yeah, but do you have any special ratings or any special incentives for your countrymen?
Well, I don't work for Uganda Land Authority. I don't work for government. As a person, you must struggle for you must push your way in. By the time I even went to try and look for a place to build in national parks, they thought I didn't have money to invest, because every day it's my life I put on jeans, thought I should carry money on my head to show I have it.
You know you are addressed the way you are dressed.
Yes.
So that's why I put on a bow tie every morning.
Now, you have to fight your way.
Well, we have a new magic bullet that is going to catapult Uganda into the next first world country, so to speak.
Yeah.
The discovery of oil. Incidentally and unfortunately, the oil grabbing seems to be lying within the areas that we have all these wonderful natural endowments, flora and fauna alike.
Yeah.
To what extent is the discovery of oil, the exploration of which, affecting on the tourism?
Well, we have, in many ways, as private sector, engaged government. We've engaged the oil companies. I was one of the guys that led the engagement of these people. I actually ended up sitting on the oil committee and at the presidential round table because of this. Now, the challenge was that there was no communication, and people thought we should just destroy whatever we can. And, the time of, and that we've been telling government we need to start thinking about long term as opposed to thinking short term. Oil is going to be here for the next 20 years, but Ugandans will be here for the next many centuries. For as long as they're here, they will need opportunities, and the best opportunities for this country are in tourism, nothing else.
Tourism, tourism, tourism. This debate certainly can never be exhaustive, but with Amos with us here discussing it on the big story, we can at least say we've picked up 1 or 2 or at least 3 lessons, motivations, or call it ways of looking at things differently from the way we've been looking at them. Let's just get into a bumper. When we return, it's Simon Says. I come armed with my own take and view about the issue of tourism and how best we can harness it as a country. But when Amos joined me on this table and said, let's repeat this for us, it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have.
Yes.
It left me flat-footed and saying, indeed, it's not whether we have all these wonderful national parks, the highest peak in the world, or even the freshest, largest, the largest,
greatest weather in the world,
absolutely,
the longest river in the world,
or even the freshest water lake in the world.
11% of the world's species of birds.
Absolutely, the most wonderful and courteous people that Ugandans are known to be.
Absolutely.
We need to go beyond leveraging that, because we've seen places that have no mountains, attracting people to come and view mountains. We've seen places that have no rivers, attracting people to come and watch rivers. We've seen places that have very hostile people, attracting people to come and spend time with them. We've seen countries that have no gorillas, calling people to come and view gorillas and even call them names. How are we using that we call our gifted by nature as Ugandans? That's food for thought, and your answer is as good as my guess. Have a wonderful morning. Let's meet same time, same place tomorrow when it's a lovey-dovey mood with Valentine's Day. But morning at NTV continues with more quality programming for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus came to set you free and to be free indeed.
In life, you don't wait.
Yeah.
There are certain times where you wait for certain decisions, but when it comes to taking action and choices, you have to move.
Jesus Christ found me, and he actually asked me a question, whether I wanted to live or to die.
Every day of my life was struggling.
It's just that God has given me this kind of hope.
GXP every Sunday only on NTV, your official inspiration station.
I can smell that liquor on your breath.
Because I've been drinking.
Marriage is tough, but you suck it up and you stick through the good times and the bad times. What kind of example are you setting for your sister who is about to walk down the aisle herself?
Shut up, Nandi. Seriously, you just keep poking and poking at other people's relationships. You're like a cancer.
Ati, I hope you're discussing fashion. Because you have everything under control, yes? And the only crisis you're going to have is you clashing with the red carpet.
We've met mystics. And that's what marriage is all about. Mystics and forgiveness. For better or for worse.
I'm sorry, but I've got to ask.
Nothing happened between me and Lucia.
Well, Lulu is not here, and if she comes, I'll let her know you're here. You picked the wrong person to mess with, Lucy.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
It's just a minute after 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us here, wherever you are, in your office, or you're planning to leave work, getting your kids ready for school, or today you are very lucky and your boss gave you a day off. Wow, I want to be in your shoes, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I have to be here to help you wake up. As you can see, the sunset in the background, it's really beautiful. Nozananga, I'm becoming a tourist because they're really fascinated by the sunrise. And as you can see, it's really just above my shoulder. Really beautiful. Kati, as you can see, me, I'm dark. It's a silhouette. And things are really happening. Well, we're going to do this every day. You'll be waking up to these beautiful pictures. And I want to thank the team. That is Hassan doing all these creative shots, and Harriet. Well, thank you guys so much. Some feedback of our social media handles, and remember you can get in touch with us on Morning at NTV, and there's also at NTV Uganda. My handle is at MBGold2, at Kasiate, at Dakaba Chigongo, at Mebkeb, at Joel Senyonyi, and Chigongo Alex at Kalex Kam here saying, you promised not to forget my main sportsman, Dakaba Chigongo. Thanks for the service. I hope I've done that. I have mentioned Dakaba's Twitter handle since the show started. Seguja the verdict at John Tribos saying, that's you guys, just keep it rolling. Thank you so much for loving the show there. Eddie Okila commenting and say there's a pickup here and stand different. Morning at NTV. Thank you so much. At LC Muha saying, at Morning at NTV is the best way to wake up, getting informed, learning, and mostly in a fun way with that MB Gold 2 at Mebcap. Thank you so much. We would definitely love these approvals. Now let's head over to our Facebook page, and right now we're at 3,990 people that like the page. Where is the 10? Banange, where is the 10? Let's get those 10 going. Sharif Hamza Kabwisa saying, I like your program, Mlondo. Thank you so much. Thanks for the good show. I really enjoy it down here in Tororo. That is Osiru Isaac. Wow. Tororo will hopefully be coming there sometime soon. Some of you have answered the question. Remember the question of the day. How many countries does the River Nile pass through on its way to the Mediterranean Sea? Oloya Brian saying the show is so impressive. Please tell us more about the youth fund, or an expert talk about it. And that is Brian in Gulu. We'll definitely work on that. I hope Mr. Ruyonga is hearing this. What is the fate of the youth fund? The people of Gulu want to know. Guys, thanks for the show. The Obama issue, there's no smoke without fire. Yesterday I was alluding to the fact that there's been a media report that Obama and Beyonce might be hooking up. Now, I posted a picture on my Facebook page. Go there and search Mulondo Brian and caption that and let me know what you think. And I'll be reading some of your comments later. But for now, I would like to link up to my friend Mabel before she comes in with birthday wishes. Let's take a look at the traffic report wherever you are. You can also send us a picture. Coming up, your traffic report. Good morning. 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's really fun here on set. Lots of action. We are working round the clock to make sure that you get whatever you deserve. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, we have some pictures coming in. And remember, you can be one of our traffic reporters. All you have to do is take a picture and send that picture to morning at NTV Uganda. Of course, you can also tag our Facebook page, official Facebook page, tag me at MBGold2, or you can tag at Kasiate. And WhatsApp it to this number. You can WhatsApp that picture to this number. 047 16730. That number will be on your screen very soon. 047 16730. You can WhatsApp that picture and let us know wherever you are. Now, pictures coming in, and they've been coming in since since 7 a.m. So we'll take a look at them. We have Mugisha, who sent a picture from Mulago. That was at about 7:30, and of course Mulago is always heavy, so that it's definitely still jam-packed. A picture from, again, Mugisha was still sending those pictures coming in. Now, another picture from the Fairway Roundabout. That is what the traffic looks like at the Fairway Roundabout. Odanki sent us a picture at about 7:45 near Kabira School. There you can see the pictures. Lugogo bypass is clear at Shira Road. It's clear, so if you're getting into town or heading over to Jinja Road, you can use that. Lugogo bypass is clear. More pictures coming in from Rose from Bukedea, and they are saying there are no cars yet. In Bukedea district, there are no cars yet. Rose and the team, we wish you a safe travel coming back to Kampala. Kamocha, there's also some pictures coming in from Kamocha there, and a sunrise in Bukedea coming in from Rose. If we can have that picture on the screen, as a beautiful sunrise in Bukedea, and of course we showed you the sunrise here at the Serena rooftop. You can see that. A picture of a lorry from Henry in Kamocha. There are so many pictures, and we love this. Golf course track over there also, with the cars moving slowly. Here at Chintu Road, the traffic is also a bit, you know, it's minimal, so you can also use that as one of the routes coming into town. That's all we had for you on our traffic report. Send those pictures, and you can WhatsApp them to 047171670. Now, I'll link over to Mabel, who is standing by at the NTV studios at the International Conference Center with some birthday wishes. Good morning.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And I must say I was so jealous of that silhouette shot. But I also have my son behind me, even though it's an artificial one. Well, we love to share your joy as you celebrate your birthdays. And today, Dofra Karani, a student of University of Nairobi, was born in 1991. Happy birthday to you. Frida Nalumansi, who studied at the Islamic University in Uganda, celebrates her birthday today. She lives in Kampala. And also Nadia Matovu, who studied at the Uganda Film and Television Institute. Happy birthday, Nadia. You actually share your birthday with the British pop star Robbie Williams. We have some pictures of billboards that were taken down in a night operation by KCCA, and they were taken by our very own Ingrid Nantege. Thank you, Ingrid, for the pictures. We shall bring you more on the story in subsequent bulletins here at NTV. Yes, the pictures are actually on your screen. KCCA were active at night, pulling down some of those billboards that I guess those pictures are at the fairway roundabout. And KCCA means business. I guess you actually need the right permission before you erect a billboard anywhere. We shall now return to the rooftop to Brian with Everyday Life.
A very good morning, gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. It's a beautiful morning, and we are coming to you live from the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop. It's morning at NTV. We are wired to kickstart your day. And earlier, I alluded to the fact that the morning starts with the dew, with the sunrise. We just received a picture from Bukedea. Wow! And wherever you're watching us from, we know that we are definitely turning on your world. Now, on Everyday Life, or every Thursday, we'll be focusing on family and relationships, but we want to help you make sure that at the beginning of every day, every morning, you get something that will change your life. And this morning, we're going to look at the beauty of parenting. What parents do, what parents are not doing right. Make sure that, tomorrow your children will fall in love more with you, or you'll become... It's amazing when you see your son or your daughter smile or you're doing the right thing. And parenting has been referred to as the way parents react and respond to their children's emotions. Different parents have different parenting styles. And today, we're going to look at that. Before we delve into that matter, I have a very interesting guest. Passionate about family. I love this. Right. There you go. The gentleman today on Everyday Life is very passionate about family. Stephen Langa from Family Life Network is here with us. A very good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning.
First of all, I like your African shirt. Simon had an African bow tie.
Thank you. You're not the only one. Actually, several people have liked this shirt, including an honorable.
Oh, so yes. I think you should. I've seen you in suits before, and I think this is good.
From Ghana.
Oh,
yeah, from Ghana.
Okay. Now, all the people that are watching this show from Ghana, you know, Brian should get a shirt like this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Right,
I know you're a very busy man, and thank you for taking off your time and coming to share with us. First of all, what does Family Life Network do?
Okay, in Family Life Network, we have a goal of restoring family values and morals in our society. We believe that the family is a critical component in any nation, and that the family is so important that it is the basic building block of society. And the quality of a nation it depends on the quality of the families.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Such that if the families are not thriving, neither will the nation thrive. Yes, and there's a saying that as goes the family, so goes the nation. And so because the family is so important, that's why I'm so passionate about it.
Right, so your core focus is sorting out the family.
Absolutely.
And the rest will be...
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Because the people in public places, the people, you know, in all kinds of areas come from families. And the way they'll perform there will depend on the families they come from. In fact, there's a saying that says that the hand that rocks the cradle is the one that rules the world. Wow. So, yes, so what happens in the home is what is eventually going to happen in the nation.
Right.
There's no way you can have a better nation than what is happening in the home.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
That's very deep.
Absolutely,
in this day and age, we've all been, you know, for example, I leave my home at 4 a.m.
Yes.
And so do most parents.
Right.
Probably after a very long day, they'll prefer to go to the gym or go out with their friends to drink or whatever they choose to do. But the contact between them and their children is very minimal.
Yes.
What are parents not doing right?
First of all, they are not spending enough time. And what you've just described is a big problem. And we as a society are going to pay a huge price for it.
Right.
Already we are beginning to see symptoms of that. Because you see, children need parents. They need a father and they need a mother. Because there are some of us who today think, oh, well, you know, I can afford, you know, to look after a child either as a man or as a woman. Yeah, I don't need a man, for example, to disturb my head. Those are the people who we usually meet when that boy or that girl is around 16, 17, or 18.
Okay.
When you brought that kid up alone, and now the kid needs the other figure, the other parent figure, and is not there. And hell sometimes breaks loose. Yeah. When children are still little, they're very resilient, and they can handle a lot of abuse and a lot of discomfort and a lot of things, a lot of neglect. But what the consequences come from the teenagers onwards. That's when you begin to see what was damaged. And yeah. So time, which parents are not spending, is a big issue. And I encourage parents to make the time.
Right.
Yes.
In the work that you've done, you know, apart from time, what are the, for lack of a better word, excuses that parents give for not being there for their children?
Of course, there's work. There's especially where both the man and the father and the mother are going out there to work.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first one they give. The other one, they say that, look, things have changed today. You know, society has changed. Culture has changed. We are now in a global world. And so because of that, the traditional values that we cherish are kind of going out and so on. And so because of that, you find that now parents are spending less and less time and are having less and less input in the lives of their children. And just borrowing what you said, that parenting is just a reaction of the emotions that children display. That is a very unfortunate thing, because a lot of people are doing that, and that is unfortunate because parenting is supposed to be deliberate.
Okay.
Yes, you're supposed to deliberately nurture this child to the kind of person that you want them to be. In others, you are on a journey to take this little bundle of life from this open slate that they are to a responsible, autonomous person who can thrive in this evil world that we live in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the tall order that a parent has, to bring this child in the unfair world that we have, in the immoral world that we have, in the corrupt world that we have, that child will eventually stand and thrive, not just barely make it, but stand and thrive. So all of parenting is deliberately inputting and equipping that little person to be able to accomplish the objective.
Right. If you're just joining us, hanging out with, I like calling him Steve, Steve Langa, a man who is really passionate about family, and he's helping us figure these things out, because most of us will have children, and then because we are also passionate about our work, we want to pursue both, but can't really balance the two. How do you also thrive in your career, but also make sure that at home things are fantastic? And some people have said, I'm first a parent, I'm first a dad, and then an employee. Are you doing that? That's what we are trying to look at today. Now, interesting statistics. 59% of parents blame their bad parenting to long working hours and communicating times, plus technology being a contributing factor. How is technology affecting parenting?
It can and it does actually affect. Okay, we are on television now, but if television is not managed,
right,
it can actually injure parenting. Because you see, once you sit in front of the television set, there's no communication. Yeah, so you are all busy watching what is being presented there. And actually, experts say that for children, it's not very good to watch long hours of television because it makes the mind passive. It doesn't engage the child's mind and that kind of stuff. Now, for us, we knew that, for example, as a young couple, and we took a few years before we actually bought television deliberately. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Why were you punishing the kids? Mark, we are punishing Mark. Yeah, well.
Yeah, the reason is we wanted to build on relationships first. Yes, because once you have relationships, then parenting will be very easy. Because in parenting, you need to communicate. Just like in the corporate world, that communication is very important. In the same way, it is important between you and your spouse, and also between you and your children.
Yes.
Now, if you don't develop that communication channel and communication capacity, then your parenting is going to go astray. You may have good intentions, but you will not be able to communicate those good intentions to the child, because the child will not be able to perceive properly the way you want him to perceive or to perceive what you're trying to tell them.
Right.
So because we thought that was important, we built on that first. And then when we thought that we had done that, we were able then to bring the television. And even when we had the television, it had to be controlled. Not just coming in the evening and watch up to, because, there are other things in life. That's not the only thing in life to do.
Well, some of us were forced to, the TV came a little later, and it was not our option, but because there was no money. But that's a very good strategy. Now, one of the things that has caught also my eye is that a third of the parents, actually 59% of families say their children are of an age where they don't need to spend time with them.
Now, that is, first of all, very unfortunate, and that is a perception that parents have. You see, teenagers especially have this tough front that they put on, and it's as though, look, I don't need you.
I'm independent.
Yes, I'm independent. Now, they still need you. So don't buy that. Yes, don't buy that. Look beyond that. That is just like a survival mechanism or a mechanism of trying to be autonomous. Yes, and try to go through the power play, because there's a power play between parents and children. As children get their independence and their autonomy, there's a bit of power play there where, okay, who is the boss here and that kind of stuff. So that usually presents itself in a way that they show as though they don't need the parent.
Right.
but actually they need the parents. So the parents shouldn't buy that. They still need you. I mean, you know, we counsel people, and one of the sad things we've noticed is that when children get into university, a lot of parents think, oh, now we've done our part. You know, these are now adults, you know. Now, okay, they won't need you the way a 10-year-old or 12-year-old will need you, but they still need your advice. They still need your guidance on important issues of life as a parent. And that's where a lot of children make very terrible mistakes, some which are very fatal and very costly, because parents have pulled off their hands. They think, oh, now this is a mature person.
Yes.
And yes, indeed, they are mature, but they still need our input and guidance from time to time. Because at that time, they're wrestling with important decisions. And every child or every young person needs somebody on who they bounce ideas. Daddy, I'm thinking of this. I'm thinking of this guy. I'm thinking of this lady. I'm thinking of this course. I'm thinking of this. You know, what do you think? And they need your affirmation. They need your guidance. They need your experience, which you have. And say, oh, no, this one, I don't think it's very wise. Maybe you should do ABCD. They need that.
How do you balance? Because one of the things that, and I personally struggle with, you want to move ahead in your career. If you're producer or director, especially for us, tells you need to be here, we need to work on this story, we need to work on this person.
Exactly.
You need to be there and, you know, tie up any loose ends. But your child also is calling on you. How do you work that?
What I suggest is make a conscious decision or a philosophical decision that your children are important and that you will attend to them after you've done your 8-hour job or whatever it is.
Right.
Yes. Because we all have 24 hours. God has given all of us 24 hours. Okay, the 8 where we should work, you know, the other 8, you know, whatever, and then they sleep. So you make a conscious effort that, okay, and maybe a philosophical decision that, okay, maybe I might not rise very fast by just spending 8 hours. Maybe I would have risen faster if I had spent maybe 12 hours in a day in my career. Make a conscious choice by saying to yourself that, okay, my child is important enough and is a bigger priority before my work. So let me consciously spend only 8 hours, even if I may not be promoted as fast, even if I may not go advance as fast in my career, but meet this obligation. Because I must say this, priorities, there are 3 priorities that are non-negotiable. And if anybody can handle that, then, you know, your life will be. The first one is God. Your relationship with your God is the most important thing. I don't care how you handle your God.
It's not negotiable.
Yeah, that is not negotiable.
Right.
The next one is your spouse. Your spouse is next to your God. They are that important to you. If anything comes between you and your spouse, it's not worth it. Whether it's money or career, it's not worth it. Thirdly is your children. You imagine, you know these 3, there's no career yet.
Yes.
Yeah. So after that, I don't care who you put, whether you put your mother, you put your career,
your job.
Your job, I don't mind. But these 3, in other words, if a job is injuring your relationship with your children, it's not worth it. I don't care how many millions they give you, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
That's a great insight. A couple of
the guest on Everyday Life, Dr. Stephen. Thank you very much. Now, a question here, Steve. Is there a unique parenting style that we can use to help our children realize that we are trying to make the money, but also care about them?
Yes, I think the unique parenting style, I would say, you see, there are 2 extremes. There's this extreme which is authoritarian, where, you know, no nonsense kind of. Then there's the other one where the children are left to do whatever they want. Either one of those are not good. You need to be in the middle to balance love and discipline. Yes. Where you have lots of love and lots of discipline.
Yeah.
There, you know, just like a bird, you need two feathers. Yeah, That's the best way to parent children.
Are there some things that we can borrow from the past? In the past, if I met you, Steve, here at Serena, and I misbehave, you would slap me. That's right. You would discipline me. Yes. But now, if you did, my friend, it would be right. I could take you know. Yeah. Is there something that we can borrow from the past that parents can now use to help take care of the family?
One thing, which my mother did, and a lot of our mothers, you know, who brought us up, who have made it up to now. Our mothers stayed with us when we were still little. You see, studies show that between birth and 3 years, that is a critical period in a child's development. And 50% of all the values that a child will ever have is given within those 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
The first 3 years.
The first 3 years, yeah. So, I wish our parents today could understand that those formative years are very critical and be there for their children. And I would encourage mothers especially, be there for those first few years. The time for you to go into the corporate world will come. Yeah, because looking after children, it only takes a few years. Yeah.
And they go very fast.
And they go very fast. I mean, my wife and I, you know, we agreed on that. And my wife is a graduate of Boston University.
Wow.
But for the first few years, our children were still little. They stayed home. I mean, rather, she stayed home. And I tell you today, we don't regret.
Right.
Yes, we don't.
I'm very proud, you know, of you. My wife is a very, very good friend. They went to the same school with your daughter.
Oh, I see.
And, you know, and well, your daughter got a very good man also.
Right.
Your son is very talented. I've worked with your son-in-law also. Right. So I'm very proud of you. That's why we called you here.
Thank
and
you.
I know that, you know, next time we'll definitely call on you and you'll come and help us here. A couple of tips in everyday, you know, moments. Avoid ignoring or disciplining a child for their emotions. They are children. And I can tell you personally, my son is 8 months, but there are times when I was like, oh God, can you just shut up? Right. And it's very, you know, I understand why my mother did all she did. You need to recognize their emotions, and this is the first step to helping your child also learn about themselves. And you can let your child feel and understand his emotions. You can help them figure out what to do when they experience strong emotions. Stephen, I'll call you in a couple of weeks to come and tell us also about when is the right time to talk to our children about sex education. Right. Because that's one of the things that is also increasing, you know, sexual deviations and all that stuff. Yeah. You can also be a part of this discussion. Help us understand, what do you do with your children? Do you discipline them the old traditional way, chibok, or you talk to them and when they misbehave you say it's fine? Let's kind of work through these issues. Now, in a couple of minutes, I'll be coming back with Isma and Mabel. But Isma, before we go ahead, what do you have on the menu?
Good morning, and you're welcome to NTV. We'll be getting to the sports segment, and when we do get there, we'll be talking about the boredom from last night, Arsenal-Manchester United. There's an Clasico final in the King's Cup, and also this morning the national ladies volleyball team have departed for Kenya, where they're playing the World Cup qualifiers. You have every reason to join us when we get back from the break.
This Valentine's Day will be very special for lovers at Kampala's premier nightclub, Governor. 2 lucky couples will win a night at the classic Kampala Serena Hotel, plus a 1-year Governor membership card. Book your table for 2 at only 200,000 shillings, which entitles you to entrance, dinner for 2, courtesy of Kampala Serena Hotel, and a Bailey's Irish Cream gift hamper. Single ladies will pay only 20,000 for entry. Lovers will be serenaded by live jazz, soul, and R&B music by Black Roots Unlimited. Don't miss this year's Valentine special at Governor. Whatever your mood, we got the color.
Cause you keep telling me.
was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was
how tugenda okwebaka ekiro yanga mwami omanyi ewakeko nange omulundi gwe gusembayo.
I went to the nurses and I asked why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive.
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed.
Mwayombye ekiro lwaleeta suzeewo lwe bakwokezza nazeepoza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza.
Kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto.
The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
Me, I'm probably in Metropolis. I do this for the love, so this is non-profit shit. I'm bored walking, so you can call this monopoly.
Log in.
NTV so magnetic.
I don't even know what to ask you because I just feel like I'm standing next to Juliana.
But not the sugar, the salt, the bread, but bought the best in order to promote all the sectors that you've got.
For the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
Exclusive, woo! I love it!
I'm so shone bored up right now.
Log in only on NTV.
Have a baby by me, baby. Be a millionaire. I write the check before the baby comes.
On the next episode of La Patrona.
But there's a problem. Your son, Fernando, was there.
What?
Death!
Gabriela Suarez is responsible for every single one of these deaths.
Then she's a murderer, and she should go to jail.
Calm down, guys. That's enough. That's enough. Take it easy, David. Enough. You also believe that stupidity? Gabriela had nothing to do with that explosion. She was just another victim.
Hello, David. I came to get you, honey. You more than anyone need to be present at your dad's funeral.
La Patrona.
Whose decision it is to wear a condom? It has to have a good foundation for where it's coming from.
When you see a back show and there is no bra,
You have to control your mind.
that's how a man was created.
Men and women are different. We go into relationships for many reasons.
Me, if you're a chick, I don't want to get pregnant, this is locking it down.
Someone could be in a relationship not because they love you, but because it's convenient.
Are you saying that when a woman tells her friends, oh, my man is so good, he provides for me, he provides for the family, he's great in bed, this is going to make my friend go to my man?
When the marriage is actually a marriage of convenience.
It is not necessarily true that when you put together with someone, when someone is forced on you, love will grow.
If you've fallen in love with somebody and it's working for you, marry them.
Men, every Wednesday at only on NTV.
The average age of the entire national team is under 18. And
The primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make one or two rugby fans smile, that the Cubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
Exactly 22 minutes on to 9 o'clock. I'm very excited today because my night was not very bad, given that there was a possibility that I would eat my words, but I didn't. And wherever you are joining us, thank you so much. Our Facebook page is up to 4,000 people. Actually, 4,500. 4,005 people. Yeah, so yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 4005 on Twitter. We are also doing well. You know, let's keep those numbers coming. We are 348. Follow us. Our handle is at Morning at NTV. Daka Batigongo is in the building. The guy who is so passionate about you. He tells me, please mention Dakaba's Twitter all the time. All the time. So, yeah, it's at Dakaba Chigongo, at Mebkeb, at MB Gold 2, at Kasiate, and at Joel Senyini. Follow us there too and tag us in whatever posts you have. You can also go to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Let's talk sport now. Yesterday we hinted a little bit about volleyball, and the national team is leaving today for Nairobi. Has everything been, you know, is every stone unturned?
I think they couldn't have done any better in terms of the preparations. When you look at Ugandan teams always cry about preparing for tournaments, they never prepare well. And while they left just a few hours ago for Nairobi, they will feel like they've done everything in their powers in terms of preparation. They were in camp in Netherlands for a week in Groningen. They've been here, then they came back and had to rest a bit. I was watching them last night in a
That must have been a very big, huge boost for them to go to, you know,
to the Netherlands. Yeah, very good that I think through the contacts of Uganda Volleyball Federation, they got us in Brussels to sponsor them for a trip to Europe, which is something that teams here never get to do.
Right.
And when they came back, they had to play a trial game last night, which they won against a very good select side last evening in Lugogo. And while I watched that, I kept on thinking, okay, what else could this team have done to prepare? And I felt like even if they don't qualify, which I don't expect them by the way too, because they have to beat up on Kenya, Seychelles, Mozambique, Senegal, Tunisia, and Cape Verde to get through from that group, and only one team will qualify. So when I looked at the challenge they face is quite big. But on the other hand, I'm one of those who love to see long-term projects. This national ladies team first played an international competition back in 1982 and haven't competed at this level for 7 years. So it's the first time they've even got this far. So the amount of exposure they've got in the past 1 year. And I remember watching them last year when they beat up on Egypt, which is one of the powerhouses in Africa.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, this is a very important step for volleyball in this country. So probably even playing this World Championship will feel the same way.
What's the team to watch in our group?
It should be Kenya. Kenya are the African champions. They've qualified for the Olympics before. When they go to the Olympics, they don't win that many games. Actually, they've not won a game outside of Africa, the Kenyans, but they beat up on all the other African teams. They have the height. One of the things is that they also have the experience, because most of their players have been on this team for a little over 7 or 10 to 10 years. So they should be the team to beat the Kenyans there, knowing that they will even be playing at home. Volleyball does have quite a following when they are playing at the Kasarani. More recently, when the men's team was playing in the same kind of qualifiers, they didn't have the fans because the team wasn't doing well, the men's team. But I think their women's team will be the team to watch out for. And unluckily for Uganda, luckily, is that they get to play Kenya first, because that's their first game on Sunday. So you can get done with who everyone feels is favorite and then settle into the rhythm of the entire tournament.
Yes, that's good. Well, we wish them good luck. On to football. El Merrick arriving for the KCCA game. And I watched, you know, the El Merrick coach saying, we got a slap. We'll respond with the same courage.
When you get slapped, you respond with the kick.
Yeah, and Simba vows to keep the match, you know, keep approach. The approach he's using, he has an advantage already, 2 goals away, which is very good. What are our odds? Is that also a wise decision to
keep playing the same way?
What would you advise them to do? Score right away or still trade with that advantage, a 2-0 advantage?
I think it's easier to trade with a 2-0 advantage and then wait for let El Merrick play and play on the counter. And I remember I've been talking to George Nsimbe quite a bit. He happens to be my friend, by the way. And I did speak to him last night, and he kept on insisting, I'm not going to change anything, because many of us were caught aback a bit when they traveled to Sudan and had to play with 2 strikers, Tony Odua and Herman Waswa. And normally not so many teams do play 2 strikers away from home, and he did that in Sudan. And he's insisted he's going to play the same way they did in Sudan. and I've seen the goals. The goals were beautiful because this game wasn't on televised back here. So we just had to make do with a bit of YouTube images from the game. And I'd love to think that the best way for Cases to win this is to keep it 0-0 or goalless for as long as they can. Because that way Elmerick will get frustrated and it will be easier for Cases to get opportunities and to open up space.
A counter
attack of something. So they've got to go into the game and not try to do a little too much, not be too overambitious. When you're leading by 2-0, not so many teams overturn this, but they've been sport offers so many miracles. There are so many of them.
Right.
And I remember just several years ago when AC Villa were playing a team from Angola called AS Aviacao. Villa traveled to Angola and won that game by 2-1. Back home at Nambole, we lost the game 2-0. So something like that could happen to KCF if they don't approach this game the right way. Right. That's why I've kept on telling you, Simbe, the coach there, that please don't throw this away.
Yeah. Well, all KCCA fans, please go and watch the game. How much is it?
It's on Saturday at Nambole for 10,000 shillings.
Only?
Yeah, in the open stand. Then there's a 20,000 and 50,000, which is probably irrelevant to so many people. And the game kicks off at exactly 4 p.m. Yeah, for your 10,000 you would get in.
We need to go and support these guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something following what you said. To all the ladies out there who do not like football. Football is actually very interesting. It's not predictable. It's really not predictable.
It's not as predictable as Valentine's Day.
We shall talk about that at the end. No, but it's really not. You know, some ladies are like, oh, you just see men kicking a ball, 11 men, whatever, 22, and it's just so boring. But anyway, yesterday, Tottenham, 4-0. What is that a comeback for Tottenham?
I think ever since Tim Sherwood took over this club, took over this side, following the sack of Andre Villas-Boas, Tottenham have been on a bit of a revival. Yeah. And that's why Emmanuel Adebayo is getting the goals he's been getting. He did score 2 last night. Yeah. And I had, for example, at some point to tell you how good Tottenham have been since Tim Sherwood took over, is that had Liverpool lost their game, because at the time Tottenham were leading, Liverpool were losing, they would have gone level on points with Liverpool. Yet Liverpool have got a lot of credit this season for playing so well. So I think there's been a bit of a recovery. I remember under AVB, I think players were a bit alienated from the manager. It was a bit of a control.
Is it because he's young? He's quite young. He looks young. He doesn't seem to be strong.
Some of the things I think about the character of the man, more than the age, because I remember watching Jose Mourinho several years ago, back in 2004 when he led Porto to the Champions League final, beating up on Monaco 3-0. While he was young, he really commanded the respect of his players. He was really the man in charge. Now, in the case of AVB, there's sometimes there was a bit of him fighting his players. Now, that is something that wasn't working for Spurs. But ever since they got rid of him, Tim Sherwood has come in. He's done a fantastic job. I could only remember one game that he didn't do well, and that was the game against Arsenal in the FA Cup, because I thought tactically he just got it wrong. He had 2 few midfielders, but now he's got to learn. Over time, he's got to learn how to use it to rotate his team and put the players in the right players in the right team and the right formation. That's working for Tottenham.
Okay, and I didn't know Harriet loves Arsenal, but it seems she does. So Arsenal, I had you say, and I had other people say earlier, it was a boring game. How boring was it?
As boring as watching paint dry. It was that boring. But I thought there was just too much loose for both sides, and that for me, that is what goes into some of these big games. Arsenal having lost 5-1 to Liverpool on Saturday.
You don't have to mention the figure. Just say they had a
we lost that game.
Having had an accident. And then Liverpool, having also not won their game, the one that, rather Manchester United, having drawn their game against Fulham, there was bound to be this kind of caution, because largely I thought that at the start of the game, for that mistake that Arsenal gave away, and then Robin van Persie had a chance to score and actually had another within the first 15 minutes. After that, they settled into some kind of rhythm where Manchester United were just inviting Arsenal to play at them and then not doing that much, because I thought United had too much loose. There are too many players in the middle, and tactically for me, David Moyes, you might have everything against him not playing positive football, but this is the kind of night where I thought that really earned his bread, having so many players in the middle, not allowing Arsenal to get down the middle, which Arsenal do very well, especially without Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Theo Walcott. Yeah, there's got to be something that he had to do to control the Arsenal attack, and for me, having all those numbers down the middle really got Arsenal this result. And I thought no one would be very disappointed, probably for the fans. Brian would have loved to have beaten up on Man United here and come to TV and tell everyone we beat United again.
But it rarely happens. When Arsenal meet Man United, it's like they're shaking their boots. I do not know why they do that. But anyway, let's move on to Spain. The El Clasico, not this weekend, actually, April 19th, in the King's Cup. Who do you think will take the trophy?
If that game was played tomorrow or played today, I would give it to Real Madrid to win. They've been playing the better football. But while Barcelona got through drawing 1-1 with Real Sociedad last night, I don't think Barcelona played with the kind of conviction the title-winning sides do have. But there's a lot of time between now and the final. A lot could change between now and April 19th. Luckily for Barcelona, Messi is back among the goals. And then Neymar is now fit, got back into training this week. So a lot could change between now and the time. Because you look at Barcelona this season, probably the player has been, the informed player has been Alexis Sanchez. And it's not one probably you'll have a heavy workload going into such a big game. But I'd give it to Real Madrid come April 19th, regardless of what changes between now and then. I think Real Madrid are playing the better football.
Okay, and just some updates if you're not aware. The Man City game yesterday was cancelled because of bad weather. And also Everton and Crystal Palace. Briefly, you had talked about Liverpool earlier. They were losing and then eventually they went on to win 3-2 with Fulham. How? They are a top 4 contender. Do you think they may...
I think they're looking like a title contender now.
Mourinho has given the title to Liverpool.
To Liverpool?
What's up? A couple of years ago saying that even if Liverpool was leading 15 points and there are 2 games remaining, he would catch up.
And Liverpool are only 4 points off the top, and probably last night's results is a hallmark of grit and something Liverpool have not had. They never win games when they don't play that well. And that's been their biggest problem. While they have done well this season is that Liverpool have a habit of winning the games when they come out and set the tone right from the onset. The problem is that in the games when they don't play well, they don't win. And last night for me was one of those. They won a game without playing so well. They gave away 2 very horrible goals. One a Kolo-Toure own goal, and the other Martin Scato just played the ball to Kerry Richardson. So in that the kind of response they've got, and Daniel Sturridge now with 8 goals in 8 games, they have the kind of attack that gives you conviction that Liverpool will always score a goal. Luis Suarez has not scored lately, but you could see he got close on so many occasions last night. and was only denied by Martin Stekelenburg and eventually David Stockdale, who are in the Fulham goal. You have the feeling that if Luis Suarez and Daniel Sturridge keep scoring, Liverpool will be right there in the mix. And I'm one of those who went for them to finish 6th back in August. But I'm slowly shifting to them finishing in the top 4.
Right. Yeah. Well, some quick updates there. Of course, if you are a very, very huge fan of sport, we haven't had time, talk about Italy. But you can catch more of this with Isma and Lumanse on Omomori at 1:30 p.m. Remember, Sports Bar every Monday, 10:30 p.m. live from Club Silk, and you can get the updates over there. But if you're just joining us, it's only 9 minutes on to 9 o'clock. Welcome to the show that is about to end. Let's take a look at our African proverb. These African proverbs are really killing me. We are very brilliant people. And today's African proverb is, beautiful words don't put porridge in the pot.
Yeah, to have porridge, in the villages, and most of Africa is rural, I think porridge is made in a pot. And then while you might talk and give all this kind of praise, you've got to work before you have porridge in the pot. The loose translation has got to be something close to that. Yeah, I've got to think that that is the most basic thing I would think about.
Right.
And lately we always told, even in, for example, in relationships, probably being nice to your girlfriend may not put food on the table because you have to work to sustain a relationship. There are things that are financial, and this is one of them.
You don't just say, baby, I love you. Yeah. You have to back it up with some chips.
With leaving home at 4 a.m. Yeah.
My friend. That is different. Someone also said, you don't just say, I think the person who digs with the mouth, literally translated straight from Uganda, You say oja kulima wali na olime wali olumala ngomaze. But the hours you take in digging this whole place will take long. But also I think it's a great lesson to some of us who think that you will wait and the money will come. You have to get up and go and work.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Now tomorrow we have a power-packed Valentine's show.
Let's first agree we're all going to wear red. Yes, this is a teaser and I'm still going to wear red. I'm going to kill you.
You're going to wear a red dress?
Red everywhere.
Wow. Red everywhere.
I have a feeling you're coming in with new hair tomorrow.
Red hair.
What percentage of women come with real hair? So you could come in with red hair.
Let's not talk about my hair. We'll talk about it off air. But seriously, let's agree to wear red.
How much love can I spread?
No, but
not much.
I'm telling you, do not want to miss tomorrow's show. We'll have some. We're going to turn this place into a love, moment, and I can't wait. Please let us know some of the Valentine ideas you have. Go to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, and tell us, do you want to surprise her with this? Do you want us to call her, and
if you want to propose on air, you can come.
Propose on air, hook us up with your number. We can call you and you do the, thing. If you want to Skype us, you can tell us. We will hook you up tomorrow. I'm really excited about tomorrow. And some of the myths about Valentine's that have been going around, we'll be looking at those and what you could prepare for your China on a Valentine's.
One of the things when Valentine's comes around with these celebrations, I think about the capitalism that comes with such occasions. Because
there's everything about capitalism.
Yeah, but on days like this, it's a bit extreme. Yeah, you're supposed to spend.
How you planning
for example, I've never held a flower for myself. Why would I buy a flower for someone else?
I can bring you one.
Thank you, Mabel.
I will bring you one.
You're going to bring him a flower?
A rose tomorrow.
A rose?
Yes.
What's your favorite flower? Do you even know flowers?
I have no idea.
I will bring you a rose tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, please share with us. I would love to know what some of the tricks that you have. One of the interesting things is that for me, tomorrow is a bit special, and I'll tell you why tomorrow. So you tune in. I'll do a little something. Now, Eddie Okila on Twitter saying that proverb is true. Just being brown, dumb, and daft on most stations doesn't guarantee intellect. Okay.
That's a bit abusive.
That's a bit harsh, Eddie, but I click what you're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to leave it at that here. Live from the Kampala Serena rooftop. It's Takaba Chigongo. Have a fantastic day.
Yes, I will.
And Mabel, looking lovely as always. The crew here, Hassan, the baddest sound man in the land. This man is like Superman. He goes all over the place. With your colleague who hooked me up with the internet, he will. Okay, you come on, say it. Come.
Is he too afraid of the camera?
He's too afraid. You come. Come. This guy Ruyonga, come and join us so that there's too much love here. Doreen. So Kagune, how does it work? It's a modem, eh?
Yeah, the internet thing.
This guy is one of the baddest internet IT guys in this country. And the whole crew, Harriet, was Charles down at the NTV Serena Studios, Ruyonga. Yeah, we love you guys and have a fantastic day.
NTV, turning on your world.
I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was
how tugenda okwebaka ekiro yanga mwami omanyi olakeko nange omulundi gw'ogusembayo.
I went to the nurses and I asked why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive.
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed.
Mwayombye ekiro lwaleeta suzeewo lwe bakwokezza nazeepoza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza
kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto.
The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history.
following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
On the next episode of
Basema ne banya twegatte ko banta Miles Ramiti mukona ne